Good evening and welcome to the home of the 2025 West Division regular season champions. We are at Zions Bank Stadium for the second straight Friday night. And our Pabst Light pregame getting you set for the Minnesota Wind Chill and the Salt Lake Shred. Second ever meeting between these two perennial playoff teams. Evan Lepler, great to be alongside Brian Jones. And with you here tonight, Brian, it's the last week of the regular season, and we know the 12 playoff teams across the league. We know who's the tournament, some of the seeding still getting sorted out tonight and tomorrow. But this game, both teams are taking it very, very seriously to try to learn about themselves and prepare for the postseason.
Right, Ben Feldman, the coach of the Minnesota Wind Chill, said they want to take away every ounce they can from this game, learn from it, get better for the playoffs, because their last two meetings against their division rival Chicago didn't go well, so we got to see what adjustments they make on offense tonight.
Let's take a look at the playoff bracket as it stands entering tonight, because we know that the three seeds in the East, New York's at DC next Saturday, the winner plays at Boston 2 weeks later. Top right is where we could see the most change. Currently, the Austin Soul are trailing against the Carolina Flyers 11-6 in the second quarter. If that result stands, then Atlanta would leapfrog Austin and be the 1 seed. Austin would host San Diego in a first round game next week. Bottom right quadrant not going to change. Minnesota, they have a home game Sunday against Detroit, their regular season finale, and then next weekend they'll host Madison for the right to go to Chicago. And Oakland and Colorado are playing next weekend. The site of that game is still to be determined depending on what happens in Colorado tonight and in Oakland tomorrow. But Brian, championship weekend just over a month away at Breese Stevens Field in Madison. As you look at the bracket, where does your mind go as you kind of break down the field in the 2025 UFA playoffs?
We have a couple of contenders, right, in Boston, Chicago, but some question marks as well. This Salt Lake team's playing incredibly well. We could see them go to championship weekend. Their offense looks finely tuned. It's almost hard to see how do they get better, and that's a great place to be as a team, peaking right before the playoffs. And then the question mark of Atlanta. So much talent, so much capability. Can they put it all together? It's been heartbreak for a couple of years in a row. It's shoring up to be a fantastic playoff.
Well, championship weekend is the destination where all 12 teams are trying to get to, and every year, usually we get some epic semifinals. Perhaps the greatest semifinal ever was Minnesota Salt Lake 2 years ago at TCO Stadium, where the Wind Chill took the lead on this shot to Quinn Snyder with 18 seconds left. And that took us to this final sequence where Salt Lake had to go the length of the field. And this is no question one of the iconic moments in the history of the Ultimate Frisbee Association. Brian, as you watch back this moment, what stands out most?
Well, it's just been an incredible ride for these two franchises. And to come down to the wire like this, we hope we see it tonight. That incredible tip in the read to send Minnesota packing. And for Salt Lake, right, they have a chance to go ahead and be champions this year and rise again.
Well, remember, that just tied it up. And Minnesota begins overtime with a break. So they go up 18-17, and then Salt Lake errs in the red zone. So Minnesota had the disc, minute and a half to go, up by 1, and it still unraveled again. This is the part that everybody forgets. Minnesota blew this game twice. I mean, I don't want to say they blew it at the end of regulation because that's an all-time play from Clutton. That was almost an errant pull receive there, and Tristan Van Mortel, who's been phenomenal at each of the last two championship weekends, except for that throw. Chad Jorgensen to Tony Mounga with 34 seconds to go, and Minnesota unable to replicate the miracle that Salt Lake converted at the end of regulation.
Just two great teams battling it out, and just the heartbreak for Minnesota, but they overcame it the next season to win the championship at this site here. For them, you know, some feelings coming back into play, the same logistics, the same hotel, the same warm-up park that they went out to go throw. And really for Minnesota, it's about figuring out who they are going into the playoffs. It hasn't worked so far in the regular season against Chicago. You've got to be able to beat your division rival. This is why this game has so much meaning tonight.
We are expecting to see some pretty notable changes from the Minnesota offense tonight. 2 weeks ago, they really struggled against Chicago. But this is a team built on its defensive identity, and the defense also struggled against Chicago. And we saw Justin Burnett, a guy that we featured prominently, who's really made a splash in his few years in the league with the Atlanta Hustle and with the Minnesota Wind Chill. He struggled to contain Donde Murray. And now that's a problem that a lot of people have had because the Belgian has been dominant against pretty much everybody. But Justin Burnett is a guy that Minnesota needs to get going to be an impact guy if they're going to go all the way.
Yeah, and I think he's going to have more success tonight. Justin Burnett is incredible at getting blocks, incredible at making plays, and it's only against the top players like Donde Murray where it's going to be an issue. And I think he's going to rebound. The Minnesota team, they had a great defensive performance in terms of getting turnovers against Chicago. They just weren't able to punch in all the breaks. And while he had that struggle moment, you can see the athleticism he has. He is a game changer. He has the ability to make blocks in the handler space, go deep, sky people, and then on a turn, he's no slouch either, able to help punch in some of these breaks for Minnesota. And it's just been huge for their D-line to have his presence here this year.
Well, they add Burnett from Atlanta. They add James Pollard from Philly. And we're going to see some changes for the Minnesota Wind Chill tonight, expecting Thomas Schopp to play some offense, expecting Paul Krennic to join Burnett on the D-line. And I know Bryce Merrill and the Salt Lake Shred are very excited to see how they can handle all the different wrinkles that Minnesota is going to throw at them tonight. But Chad Jorgensen can handle a lot. He's played D, he's played O, and he is a guy that just seems to be getting better and better every game he plays.
They've put a lot of trust in this young handler who's just been on fire since the start of the season, finding ways to play with discipline but make the highlight reel plays as well. That's what's huge about this team. Bryce Merrill talked about it in an interview with you, Evan, that you maybe don't have the talent that you had last season, but you're getting all the pieces to play in the right role and figuring out ways to make them go to an elite performance every single game. Salt Lake's been consistent, even in their loss earlier in the season to Atlanta, and Chad Jorgensen's been a huge part of that, just steadying the offensive line.
Well, Chad and his brother McKay now on the Salt Lake O-line. Luke has joined the D-line where he's played particularly well. Fans filling in here at Zions Bank Stadium. Of course, Week 13 in the UFA is already underway. Live right now on WatchUFA.tv. The Carolina Flyers, eliminated from the playoffs last week by their rivals in Atlanta, and yet they have come ready to play tonight in the state capital of Texas against the Soul.
Well, if the game's on the schedule, then it means something. Playing for a little bit of pride, but playing for a winning record. It doesn't matter they didn't have the exact season they wanted. These are a competitive bunch of dudes in Carolina. They all have that pride. They all have that competitive fire. And they want to prove that, hey, if other things have gone their way, they deserve to be in the playoffs and they can ride that momentum into the offseason.
Brian, one of the things that I talked about on Swing Pass and you and I talked about a couple of weeks ago in Chicago was the struggles that Minnesota's offense has been enduring. And they've been trying to implement a system that didn't really have a reset with 6 cutters downfield. But things are going to change. We're going to see more of a conventional look from the Wind Chill tonight because I think they realized they kind of hit the code red button after the last Chicago game and recognize we need to change something if we want to have a chance.
Yeah, normally when you're coming off of a championship, you don't want to change too much. You don't want to go into a panic mode. But it's been apparent after those 2 games in Chicago, they have to make changes. So every player understands that. Everybody's open to the changes they have to make. It's going to require them to throw a little bit more passes. Right now, last in the league, you brought up the statistic before the game, last in the league in completions the last 2 years. It worked out last year in the Wind.
It did.
Not so much when it's been still conditions. Right, possession has become king in the ultimate world.
As someone who's coached in this league, how much do you care about completions per game and where your team ranks? Because Minnesota was literally #1 in the league in completions per game 4 years ago in 2021. Last year, they were last in the league in completions per game and won the championship. You don't need to throw a lot of passes, but it also shows kind of a guttiness if you can, right?
Yeah, if you don't throw a lot of passes, you better complete most of them in order to put away possessions. And we've seen teams over the year do it in different styles. The New York Empire team sometimes being efficient with the big receivers, and the DC Breeze doing a great job of being possession-oriented. And so I think we're going to see a little bit more of that possession-orientedness from Minnesota. I don't care exactly where my team would land, but I think it's a sign that you've been built for these windy conditions if you're last in the league 2 years in a row in completions, and that's worth analyzing your system because it hasn't been working so far.
How would you have approached a game like tonight if you were the Austin Soul, knowing that you needed to win to be the 1 seed, but you had a really talented team coming to play you that was playing free and loose, and you had a whole lot more at stake than they do?
Full speed ahead. There's no other way to play it. I don't like to go into a game and thinking we're going to back off. You want to go ahead and win that game. Go ahead, secure that 1 seed. And for them, this is the tough part, right? You're either going to get tested and you lose the game and you have to learn from it. This is the best lesson they can take away because of Carolina, a team that, Atlanta got the better of a couple times, and that's really where Austin's going to have to win against Atlanta or San Diego. If they're taking it this easily, 14-7 right now, you've got some work to do to be ready for the playoffs.
Oh, it's just a miserable first half for the Austin Soul on WatchUFA.tv. Stephen Nagy will have his work cut out for him. Now, he also told me earlier this year their goal was not to be the 1 seed. Their goal coming into the season was to earn a home playoff game. Regardless of the result tonight, they're going to do that. They'll try to battle the San Diego Growlers next Saturday if that result stands to face Atlanta a couple weeks later. But, man, the Atlanta Hustle got to be just absolutely overjoyed to knock those Flyers out of the playoffs.
Anytime you can beat a rival like that, there's a little bit of sweet justice in the air, and I've thought about this a lot. I really think in this community you really value your rivals because they push you to be better, but there's still that just like, when you get that win and you can feel good about yourself at the end of the season. It's competition. It's what it's all about. You play to win the game. Whatever cliche you want to throw at it from Herm Edwards is going to work here.
We are counting you down to the Salt Lake Shred and the Minnesota Wind Chill, just the second ever meeting between these two teams representing the Central and West divisions respectively. The weather is the third team that could be a factor tonight. There are some ominous splotches of storms in the area, so we will be monitoring that. There's a chance of some showers here in the next 10-15 minutes, but hopefully it won't be too disruptive tonight. Matt Rusnagel, a captain of the Salt Lake Shred. He's third in the league in goals, and we caught up with him to ask him what he's thinking about heading into tonight's action.
What do I know of Minnesota Wind Chill? What do I expect? I expect a stifling defense. I know they're good defensively. I know there's some big bodies, some pretty defensively minded players. I've never gotten to play Minnesota, so I'm very excited for that. And yeah, I think it's just fun to have, outside of our little bubble here in the West, it's fun to get some different competition and different players and different play styles. So I think making it back to Champ Weekend this year would be awesome just for this squad, especially us being so young and reformed. Like, we lost a ton of players last year, and it's a brand new team this year. And I think it's just a testament to the coaching staff, to all the players, the hard work that we put in, that we can really just put things together kind of quickly and get to wherever we want to get to if we just put our minds to it. Yeah, I feel like game day Bryce is like stepping back in time to like whenever Bryce is like 20 years old. I feel like that's like the energy that he brings. It's like a very youthful energy, but it's very intense. It's super intense. Like he'll get right in your face and start screaming. He'll do whatever he needs to do to kind of get you where you need to be. I feel like Bryce sets the tone, and it's like everyone either meets Bryce here or Bryce is going to get you there one way or the other. So it's a fun energy that he brings.
Two years ago, we witnessed perhaps the most miraculous and unbelievable moment in UFA history, when the Salt Lake Shred stunningly forced overtime at the buzzer and proceeded to spoil the championship dream for the hometown favorite Minnesota Windchill. Of course, the Windchill tasted sweet revenge in Salt Lake City last August, shocking the Frisbee world and celebrating their first title on the Shred's home turf. That brings us to tonight, as Minnesota and Salt Lake look to ace their final regular season test ahead of what they both hope could be another memorable postseason. It's the Windchill and the Shred on Friday Night Frisbee. Next. Minnesota Windchill are thrilled to be back in Salt Lake City, the site of last year's memorable championship run. The Salt Lake Shred, though, this is their home turf, and they are still disappointed that they couldn't be a part of last year's championship weekend. It's the final weekend of the regular season. The Windchill have a playoff game next Saturday. The Salt Lake Shred have the Western Championship game 3 weeks from now. But tonight, both teams look to get better, learn about themselves. Minnesota, bottom right, will play Madison in the first round of the Central playoffs. Salt Lake awaits the winner between Oakland and Colorado. Top right of the bracket might flip because Atlanta looks like they're going to be the 1 seed. Austin down big at the half against Carolina in a game the Soul had to have to be the 1 seed in the South. And with that, we say good evening and welcome to Friday Night Frisbee. Evan Lepler with Brian Jones, excited for this one. Interdivisional action. They last played at championship weekend. Iconic game. And the craziest thing about it was both teams feel like they're at home tonight, because Minnesota won a championship here, and that's something that can never be taken away. You experience a championship out in the Bay Area. I imagine you feel similarly.
Yeah, it's fun to come back to where you won. The feelings come back. And really, if you're Minnesota, you need those good feelings to come back. You need that dose of confidence, because even though the defense has been great, the offense isn't where it needs to be a championship team so far this season. Tonight means a lot to them, even though it's not going to adjust anything for the playoffs.
The last couple championship weekends, the Minnesota Windchill have really leaned on Brian Vinoka as an important rock for their offense. They're going to need him again tonight.
He can do it all, and he's just continued to grow as a player throughout his career. He's found ways to get better. You know, for a long time, he was seen as this great athlete, and as he's gone through the age, a lot of times you say, hey, your prime as a player is between 27 and 31. Well, he keeps getting better and better as he crawls into his 30s. He can get deep, get the skies. He's done a great job on the offense and moving the ball around and just become a complete package, multidimensional, not just the athlete anymore, finding ways to get it done as a veteran on this offense.
Windchill are going to mix up their offensive alignment tonight. We'll see how that goes. For the Salt Lake Shred, they got 2 Jorgesens on the O-line. We're going to focus on the youngest Jorgensen on this Salt Lake roster, McKay. He's getting more and more touches. He's going to be even more responsible tonight with no Braden Eberhardt. It's amazing how calm and confident he is for how young he is.
It really is. He does a great job for this offensive line, who's become one of the top ones in the league. And it's just astounding watching them the last couple weeks. It looks like any defense has not been able to do anything to them in the second half. You can credit their conditioning, but you can credit McKay Jorgensen as well, stepping into a huge role this season after a lot of departures. It doesn't matter that the big names have gone for the Shred. They found ways to get it done in offense with Russ Nagel and with McKay Jorgensen.
Shred have won 10 in a row. Most recently, McKay Jorgensen, 58 completions, only 1 throwaway, 5 assists, and over 500 throwing yards. Opening pull is presented by Pabst Light, and we are thrilled to have you with us for the regular season finale of Friday Night Frisbee. If you ask Ben Feldman, he'll tell you it's been a long time since the Windchill have held on offense to start a game. Can they change that tonight? Big bid, but no dice for Sam Pugh.
Very rarely is the first possession of the game a must score, but it feels that way for the Windchill. If they can find a way to get their offense off the field and the defense back on, they could be in business to take down this behemoth of Salt Lake.
Will Brandt swings it to Josh Klain, who floats it across the field. Leo Savell Fernandez gets it to Gordon Larson. Minnesota in the red zone. They've been pretty good down to the business end of the field. Klain for Matt Raider, celebrating his 34th birthday tonight. The veteran Raider gets the hockey assist, and Minnesota with a huge hold to get things started tonight. Ryan Vinoka with the final catch to put the wind chill up 1-0.
Just a couple weekends ago, we watched them battle against their division rival in the Chicago Union, and it looked like the Union had the book on the wind chill. They were poaching from different spots. The wind chill were looking at big lanes, and they were unable to move the ball in kind of a small ball fashion. Here you watch them go through the possession. They read the poach as well. They take the small passes. They move it around a couple times. And that was something where it felt like more like a 15-20 pass possession. We've talked about the top of the hour. They were and have been for the last 2 years the team with the least amount of completions per game that we've seen in the UFA. For them to have that possession shows whatever tweaks they're making seems pretty good right now to start this game, get their defense on the field.
James Pollard's first pull of the night is a couple yards too long. Playing in elevation here at Zions Bank Stadium just outside of Salt Lake City, Utah. And the Salt Lake Shred offense has been a buzzsaw. They're #1 in the league in hold rate. They're #1 in the league in O-line conversion rate. McKay Jorgensen picks up the disc. No Braden Eberhard tonight. Battling an illness, and he is inactive. But Will Selfridge is back, and he gets his first touch, and he's guarded by Justin Burnett. And here's Chad Jorgensen. To the middle of the field for Jacob Miller. Quick dish. This is what Salt Lake has done so well. They play Brian with such purpose. The stall count rarely gets to 4 or 5. Jordan Kerr now has Burnett on a switch. The Shred were very excited tonight to go up against Minnesota's defense because, as Bryce Merrill said, they just do things defensively that no one else in the West can do. Chase Dunabile, his first touch of the night, is the early equalizer as the Shred respond with a hold.
As expected, the Shred's O-line continues their top performance going into the first possession of this game. Against Colorado, we saw Colorado employ a strategy to force Salt Lake deep, to take away the underneath and force them to take shots. Here, Minnesota is going to make them work a little bit more. That was a lot of passes. And if you're Minnesota as a coach, yeah, you didn't get a block. You didn't get a turnover. But that's a good starting possession to contain an explosive Salt Lake Shred offense.
Salt Lake as a full team, only 20 turnovers in their last 2 games, both against Colorado. And of course, half of those 20 turnovers came in the first half last Friday night. Salt Lake only had 1 turnover in the second half of that Summit game last week on Friday Night Frisbee. 2 of the 3 pulls so far have landed out of bounds. Downfield right now, Thomas Shope is out there for Minnesota. He's a guy that had played virtually no offense for this wind chill team until last week. But they're gonna mix him in, and Ben Feldman is excited to see what he can do. Feldman talked about his speed, his relentlessness, his eagerness and willingness to run. Here's Shope coming underneath. Guarded tightly by Gene LaRue, too tightly in fact. And tonight's head referee, Joe Strong, blows the whistle and gives the free 10 yards to the wind chill offense as the rain starts to fall here at Zions Bank Stadium. Shope swings it nicely to Brandt, picked up by Tony Monga. Savell Fernandez flips it to Raider. And that was a little too cute. And it's the game's first turn. And here come the Shred D-line. Kimball Pugh. Can he pick up where he left off last week? He sure can. Alex Forsberg read it better than Raider. Branson slowing it down as Minnesota's O-line tries to thwart this Salt Lake break chance. Reed Browning in the middle to Pugh and into the end zone. It's Kimball Pugh to Alex Forsberg again for the Salt Lake break. 2-1 shred.
I'm not used to a world where Matt Rader is having a little bit of a misread as the shred goes for the fast break. And then they get patient near this end zone. Their defensive efficiency has been incredible this year, as well as their O-line.
So Salt Lake gets the game's first break. The nice thing about Zions Bank Stadium over there, most of those stands are covered, so those fans are much drier than the competitors. Kyle Weinberg lets it fly, and it was a laser pull caught by Tristan Vandy Mortel. Vandy Mortel has been an important guy for this wind chill team. They tried him on offense a couple weeks ago against Chicago, and Ben Feldman said it didn't work out, mainly because our D-line missed him too much.
He's been an integral piece for that D-line for a long time.
Ripping the deep shot. And it is well out of bounds. Sam Berglund a little overly ambitious there in these conditions. Another break chance for Salt Lake. Here's Nate DeMorgan, and he'll rip the lefty huck. Luke Jorgensen is there. He's got company with Ben Ashton, and the Salt Lake break train has left the station.
It's been a hard road for this Minnesota wind chill. This has been the thing they are trying to avoid and trying to figure out how do they get their offensive efficiency up, how do they hold cleanly and get their defense back on the field. And for Salt Lake, the trend continues. Their O-line's great, their D1 line's great, their D2 line is even playing better when converting breaks.
I mean, Luke Jorgensen's a guy who's had over 70 completions in a game. He's been an anchor handler for the O-line, and just bring him back on D after injury. If you trust him athletically, it's a huge gift.
Having that experience to be able to just keep possession alive, be able to read poaches, read anything funny, have that composure is huge.
Well, the referee just blew his whistle multiple times, and I think that means there was a lightning bolt in the area. I don't know if we can pan the sky. To our left, looks pretty ominous. To our right, looks pretty beautiful. Unfortunately, the weather's moving kind of left to right, so this could be a little bit. Both teams are going to have to retreat to the locker rooms. The clock has stopped with 6.5 minutes to go in the opening quarter. And Salt Lake, with back-to-back breaks, has a 3-1 lead. We're going to take a quick timeout, and when we come back, we will have bonus coverage of the Carolina-Austin game that's currently airing live on WatchUFA.tv. Lightning delay here on Friday Night Frisbee in Salt Lake City. On the green stage, huge bid, gets the time. It's a great opportunity for the Germans, and they break with ease. Throw it the full 80 yards to the field. Are you kidding me? An incredible catch. You are kidding me. Oh my God! Throw like a pro with the new Pro Ultimate Frisbee. Created with input from the sport's premier passers, the Pro Frisbee is specially designed to fly through the wind and maintain its edge. Experience the official Frisbee of the UFA and get yours at shopufa.com today. Well, it's unfortunate. So much excitement heading into the start of this game, Brian, and fans are required to head to their cars. You know, it doesn't feel torrential right now by any means, but a lightning bolt in the area, we knew it was a possibility. And it's tricky as a competitor, too, because you're really excited. You play 5.5 minutes of Frisbee, and then you get sent back to the locker room. I mean, obviously, is this a good thing for Minnesota after their shaky start, getting broken 2 of their first 3 0 points?
You never know. Going into these situations, if you're Minnesota, you're so underconfident right now. It's such drudgery trying to figure this out of how to play your best offensive game. And if you can go into that locker room and play games, I remember a rain delay. You get one of those foam rollers, you get a lacrosse ball, and you got to see who can bounce it in. And if you can play games like that and have a great time, you know, the locker room and a rain delay and a lightning delay can be a really fun place. But if you're trying to figure out what's going wrong, you don't need to think about it anymore. It's pretty simple what's going wrong right now for the Minnesota wind chill on offense, and some of it has to do with the Salt Lake Shred.
The 2019 Empire that you coached to a championship, who was the most entertaining guy in the locker room during a rain delay?
I think TJ Stanton was pretty entertaining. He found a way to just make everything more fun in those moments. And, you know, of course, the big personalities were always there. And I think the big rain delay that we had was we were going for the undefeated regular season against Philly, and we were down and waiting for the weather to clear to try to come back out and keep that going, because Philly had the lead on us. And so a little bit of nerves, a little bit of wanting to play that game. And I think both teams here tonight, they want this game. Both teams need this game in a lot of different ways for them to reach the pinnacle of what they can be as an offensive unit. We talked so much in the pregame about how meaningful this game is for Minnesota, but I think it's equally meaningful for the Shred. And we're going to go through the East Division.
I just wanted to ask you real quick about your thoughts on the East Division, because you talked about, you know, New York and Philly. And Philly had a really incredible special start to the season, and yet they're still on the outside looking in. As we know, the 3 playoff teams, and despite all the chaos, it's Boston, D.C., and New York representing the East in the playoffs, just like a year ago and the year before that.
It's just been the same old story for the East. And for the Phoenix, the last several years, every year it feels like they're going to have an ability to push through, find a way to get over the hump. And it looked good at the start of the season, but there's just something there where they're a little too young. They have talent. They definitely can make the plays, but that one awful sequence they had at the end of the third quarter against Boston really feels like it ruined their chances, and they just didn't put up the fight that I think they were capable of against New York.
Well, New York, Boston tomorrow in the UFA Game of the Week, 6 p.m. Eastern, that same exact time. D.C. is at Philly. Phoenix are not going to the playoffs, but they could sweep the season series from the Breeze. It's not a ton of consolation, but, you know, they would enjoy finishing the season that way. In the South Division, the number 1 seed was still up for grabs heading into tonight. Austin at 9-2, Atlanta in the clubhouse at 9-3, and Atlanta beat Austin in their only regular season meeting. So if Austin loses to Carolina, which is what it's looking like right now, then Atlanta would be the 1 seed in the South for the 3rd year in a row, and we'll see if the 3rd time can be the charm for the Hustle hosting the South Division Championship game 3 weeks from tonight. Right now, we are going to show you bonus coverage of that Carolina-Austin game that is airing live right now on WatchUFA.tv. We will keep you posted about our status here in Salt Lake City, but at the moment, despite the sunshine that you see, we had a lightning bolt, and we are in a delay. So the Shred leading 3-1 over the wind chill here on Friday Night Frisbee. Enjoy a little bonus coverage of the UFA's South Division Friday Night Showcase in Austin, Texas.
To 7 for Carolina.
Just fundamental offense there from the Carolina Flyers. I mean, if you want to talk about how to play good red zone, as we see another look at that point block there from Belis. Just put his hands up, read Beck's like a book. And just, you're right, that little jab step to the open side, and you could just dish it in. I mean, if you want to go and you want to talk about real good fundamental red zone offense, one of the things that you can always do is think about pushing it all the way to the break side. Like, you look at old, this is a throwback for some people, you look at like old Boston Ironside teams, rest in peace, who would get it all the way to the break side as far as they could, right? And now they have a flat mark on them, and they just do a little bit of a dish, right to the open side. And that's what you saw there. Bloodworth goes, gets this kind of quick jab on the open side right away. No problem and no pressure. Easy goal. Now they're up 7.
And what started off okay for the Soul in the second half, a lot of clock burned, but finding themselves in a bit of a Sisyphusian exercise as they keep pushing the same disc uphill.
Just got out of that, right?
I think he's still there.
He's still there?
I think he's still there.
All right. Well, can't win them all. But the important part is he's pushing it up the hill. And right now, 7-goal hill isn't necessarily, whatever they had in Athens or wherever he was. I don't know. That's not what my degree was in. So.
Yeah. No, I'm actually not sure exactly where he was either. But
yeah.
I know that rock was heavy, and right now it almost feels like the heat is putting a bit more on Soul. Now, this is a short turnaround, but same for both teams. Both teams played on Saturday night. Carolina had to travel, Soul didn't.
Yeah.
I do know that Soul had practice last night as opposed to plastic.
Andrew Lee in here getting some touches. definitely a good person to come in off of an injury sub if you need it.
And the patented Kyle Henke lefty backhand. Reinhardt needs help. And you see a couple of Seoul players cutting to the same spot. The around to dial. Luna in the back, but that is the upwind side. And look at the way that Suraj Mataraju forced that disc into crazy territory. And that looks really painful. That's Cooper Williams down, and he is holding on to a pretty bad area.
Yeah, he looks like he came up and over on Henke and just came right down on that leg.
And grabbing below the knee, it looks like. And let's take a look at what happened here. And I was talking about, Suraj Mataraju did a brilliant job of kind of poaching that dump area and forcing another really risky throw out of Austin. And Henke able to go up and pull it down. But it's Williams who comes out worse for wear off of his own accord, but looks like that ankle definitely took some nasty work.
Yeah, favoring that a little bit. That big arc and throw there from Johnson, I mean, that sideline has been something that it looks like the Soul has had a little bit of trouble with this entire game. And that's one of those where you have a big arc and throw and you have players who've been able to get under it. Kind of a bailout that just happened there. So we'll see what happens here with this possession, see if they can finish it out, punch it in.
Quick reset to Wiley. And Noah able to pull it back in. The throw from the ground. And Seoul losing yardage.
Playing this little two-man game here between Wiley and Henke, which is something that we've all become very familiar with here. Just real good chemistry between these two players, as you can see.
And what a move from Henke. Doesn't have anybody. The lefty high backhand. Maybe my favorite throw in Ultimate, and that's going to be the score. So it might have taken a while, but Seoul have now put 2 back-to-back breaks to pull within 5 with 90 seconds left in the third quarter.
Yeah, good, patient offense there from the Soul. You know, we've talked about it kind of going both ways, right? We've talked about it shooting it going long. Oh, this was this point?
That was this point.
Wow, already? So we see that kind of first huck turn, and then again these big arc and throws. So the big throws working for the Soul, not working for Carolina, and the Soul able to just kind of dink and dunk, work it up the field, death by 1,000 cuts if you want to call it that way, get it right in, get that second consecutive break. Looks like OJ threw that from within the end zone. One of the more creative spikes in the game is when you catch it and then you throw it again for an assist. It's a good one.
And that one took over 4 minutes of game clock.
Yow.
And usually you'd say that would be Carolina trying to churn clock, Seoul doing some of the Flyers' work for them.
Carolina is just very, very skilled with the disc. They have these insides, they have these arounds, and even if they're a little bit pressured, they're able to use their pivots to get open as they pivot through the mark.
And that's going to be a foul on the throw.
Yeah.
Going back to Fairfax. And the crowd here not happy about it, but
You don't say?
48 seconds left in the third.
Good aggressive defense here from the Soul.
You see Austin starting to pin their ears back a bit on defense. Maybe trying to make some opportunistic plays.
They're being a little bit too physical here, Rich. Just giving up some easy yards. I mean, again, with the second assist spike here for the Carolina Flyers.
38 seconds left. Seoul will have the upwind point, and we'll see how they choose to work it up with the hope of ending the third quarter within 5. We, of course, have seen Seoul make that sort of comeback this season, the biggest one being the improbable comeback against L.A. in California.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, a bit of a different field in front of them.
Yeah. Rich, I think something we're noticing here, I mean, you were talking about pinning the ears back there on defense. I mean, Seoul is a team that prides themselves on being a physical, stick-to-it track meet team, and there's a value in being physical, and there is a detriment to your game if you are too physical. And I think right there we just gave up a couple too many free yards that we didn't have to give up there just by being a little bit too physical on the mark.
And Mark Hankey going to stretch it. Broadbeck. And a brilliant defensive effort to break that one up. And a break opportunity with 14 seconds left to really put some hurt on Austin.
Just a hustle play there from Wellers going downfield. Way to make up that ground. We saw Hankey take that shot that early in the game we were saying we wanted him to take. As Carolina shoots it the other way at the buzzer.
Coffin lets it fly. Oh, my word. What does it feel like to fly? Someone needs to go and pose that question to John Wellers.
What a bookends block there from John Wellers as he throws him up. We're going to get a really nice look here on this hustle down block. Makes up maybe 2-3 yards here on Broadbeck. Hustle going one way. God, look at the space he covers, Reggie. Gets right in there for the hustle block. Like, this is this late in the game, too, being able to go and make that big play. So we see it going the other way, and it's just, God, Air Wellers, once again, giving good name to the Carolina Flyers. Whoop! Gosh, I'm sorry, Eric. That's just a great play.
That is, you know, as a Seoul fan, you hate to see it, but everyone here had to stand up, and sometimes you see something so cool, it doesn't matter who does it.
I have an unfortunate feeling we're going to be seeing that a couple more times this week, Rich. But, so, I mean, 7 points here at the end of the third. Seoul are in a little bit of a hole. You see them all getting together, having a little bit of a conversation, saying, if I'm in this huddle, saying, we need to end this game with something that's going to make us proud. When you're in a game like this, what are you going to take with you as you go into the playoffs, as you go into your training? How do you want to be defined by this hole that you are in? If you can claw yourself out, then you can punctuate it with a win, good for you. But if you can't really claw back, you need to find something to take from it to motivate you to get better for the next game.
What's that motivation going to be for Austin? What do they find in the final 12 minutes to walk away with a feeling that makes you feel good about what you have in front of you?
I want to see Austin in this fourth quarter just really kind of play without any training wheels. Just go out there and just do what you want to do. Whether it be go and cut deep, whether it be fly for a block, just do something interesting that is going to make yourself feel like you are going to be able to carry it into the next game, if that makes any sense.
And I think this game, no matter, even if somehow Seoul clawed back this 7-goal deficit, I think this solidifies something that is really important to recognize, that Carolina is the best team not playing in the playoffs this year.
100%. I mean, you look at Carolina's schedule that they had a pretty gnarly, I think it was either East Coast, West Coast road trip that, you know, kind of tuckered them out, and that kind of puts you in a hole at the start of the season. I think they had D.C. and New York, something crazy like that. Real tough schedule, kind of puts them down, but you're 100% right. This is the best team in the league that is not going to be making the playoffs.
And I bet you Atlanta is watching this right now, feeling real happy about what they did last week. Mitchell pulling in the deep shot. Back to Laviolette. And Laviolette just switches the field the opposite direction. And that's two guys who have played collectively thousands of points of Ultimate Frisbee.
Mitchell, once again, not having to go up for that hook. Just dive into the inside shoulder there on Fur. And then a little bit of a give and go. Watch how Laviolette moves this mark all the way over. And it's a wide open backhand for Mitchell to just backpedal in. That thing was going right into his stomach. He could have sat down and it would have landed right there on a platter for him. Just a buttery biscuit of a backhand on the other round.
And that's just two veterans having fun playing Ultimate. And when we talk about what's happening overall in the league, many of you maybe are taking a break from the currently stalled out Salt Lake Shred Minnesota game in Salt Lake. Currently the home team up 3-1 over the wind chill. Elsewhere in the league tonight, Colorado playing host to Seattle. Colorado up 10-4, and they'll be watching very closely as to whether they'll actually have a shot at stealing that second seed from Oakland, who will be playing against San Diego tomorrow night. Colorado has to get their job done tonight and then put some pressure on Oakland.
These cutters here for the Soul are just starting so deep, and that's really taken away a lot of these deep options.
And you saw some really smart play and able to escape. Miles Armstrong with the wraparound to Reese Bowman. And I was going to say that it did a great job of bracketing Bowman. You saw the switch happening on the first look deep. But then they underestimated the ability of Miles Armstrong to wrap out that one around. And take a look here. Just a beautiful over-the-top Bowman able to escape. And you see Coffin going, man, I thought I had that.
Yeah. Reese Bowman is a guy who can kind of just leak into that space. For that, it was that kind of deep break side quadrant. And Armstrong is a dynamic thrower who can get a lot of power just from one kind of quick step, one kind of quick snap of the wrist. And he gets it right over there. I mean, there's no shot. That's a perfect throw that you can have. So that's something you can take with you. You know, you have those kind of into space throws if you need them.
And not quite putting these on the back as maybe we're used to seeing Reinhardt do. Fairfax outside. The Huck gets on its edge. And DeLuna able to get the D, picked up by Mark Hankey.
That one hanging, but thankfully no one within 5-10 yards of Powell.
Paltruru to Powell. Fairfax not pulling the trigger on that one. Reinhardt double teamed. And smartly is trying to step through it and draw the foul.
Let's see how Soul deals with this here. Paltruru, I think, with a little bit of a mismatch here with Laviolette. Just, he's so quick off that first step that he can have. He's very reliable with the disc.
Paltruru with nobody and goes for the inside. Can Welkener get it? He can.
Wow.
Welkener sees the shot at the end zone. DeLuna gets another break for the Soul. Austin pulls back within 6.
Everybody stay calm, Rich. Don't call it anything just yet. But that was an electric play here from DeLuna going both ways. Goes on this hustle block. Fairfax has been automatic with his deep shots this entire game, but Connor DeLuna says not today. And Paltruru with just an incredible throw into space here. Hangs perfect for Welkener, who is definitely speedy, but that throw from Paltruru was about as perfect as you could ask for an into-space throw late in the count.
And we've seen Saketh get more and more comfortable in this D-line handler role for the Soul over the course of the year. And you've seen, on the same vein, Najee and this team find more opportunities to trust him and give him those looks.
He is somebody who can really be a good field general, and he has got a motor as you see him back out there already. he's going to be the first person down on this pull. He plays really good contained defense. So he might not necessarily be getting blocks or taking everything away, but he knows what to give up, when to give up, and that is so valuable for a defender.
Some switches, trying to find coverage. Janelle on the disc.
Little support here from our sideline. So when I say Austin, you say Soul. Austin!
Deep look happening. Not given, but Coffin will throw it.
Just
Floating very high. Hey Bear trying to threaten. And a call will put the disc back in the hands of Carolina on the goal line.
Yeah, Trent doesn't look like he's contested that one too much. Wild throw there from Coffin. Just put that up in the absolute stratosphere. Sent it back over the Austin skyline and got a little bit bailed out there with some contact, I'd say.
Red zone for Carolina. Taking up a little high. This should be an easy goal, but good flash from Johnson. And that one to the cone. Carolina back up 7.
You see it again with that Carolina red zone offense here, Rich. Just push it to the break side, push it to the break side, take a little bit of a jab, and then all of a sudden you have somebody open right in front of you. As you see again, this huck here from Coffin hangs just, again, puts it so far up in the air. Oh, yeah, that was a strip. But, again, just this easy open side backhand. It's force side defense sometimes, and it's real hard, but it's one of those things where you want to kind of shuffle over, get in the way a little bit, and hopefully kind of contain those easy dishes for goals.
Haven't seen a lot of Bielis this year, although he was a big part of this squad in their run to championship weekend last season. I believe this is only Christian's second appearance on the season. And Lepler were having their conversation, a question of, is there a bit of an asterisk on some of Atlanta's success over Carolina this year, as that's going to be a deep shot. What? An unbelievable grab. And Kyle going, hey, man,
Wow.
what's that play about? You rarely see Kyle Hankey get any sort of frustration, and he is not happy about what happened there.
He's looking for that strip integrity call, it seems. But he's not going to get it. Call that a turnover. Risky shot there from Moore, but with Kyle cutting deep, he's good for one of those plays.
And again, I don't think – I have rarely seen Kyle's hackles get raised.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a timeout Carolina. And you can see some real frustration on the Soul sideline. And Carolina just resting easy here. And I was going to say, as I was talking about before this exciting play, let's look as Elliott Moore sends that one long. And I thought Kyle had this one in his hand. And Kyle does have that in his hand. And unfortunately, we're not the NFL. We don't have multiple angles of that one.
I mean, maybe he didn't survive the ground, but it looked like he got hit pretty hard in the shoulder there, Rich.
Maybe he's also calling it for the contact on when he hit the ground.
I mean, I don't know. That's –
Look, is it a play that would change the result of this game? Absolutely not. But
no. But that's one of those that, you know, we're talking about ending something that's going to make you happy, make you a little bit proud, and that's something that's a little bit frustrating. It doesn't go your way regardless of the score.
This Carolina offense has continuously shown and flowed through different looks. And Fairfax mistiming that one in a rare misstep.
You know, Wiley's one of those players where you don't know when you have to go up because he's so springy, and Fairfax, as good as he is, just took a little bit too early, and both of them ended up getting getting a little bit too under it.
A few players showing for it. Welkener way around.
Ooh.
DeLuna thinks about going.
Joey quarterbacking this kind of D-line handler core here. Nice inside break from Noah Powell.
Reinhardt holds. That's a high stall count.
Oh.
And it's starting to get a little chippy out there for where this game really lies.
Yeah.
I'd like to have both teams take a moment and maybe take a breath, realize that this one's kind of settled.
Yeah, let's just all relax here. Like we got 5 minutes left to play. Let's do what we can, play some good clean offense. Good timeout call there from Stephen Najee. Tell you something that he's been coaching for, I don't know, 5-6 seasons now. Take another look at this hinky play.
And it's hard to
Rich.
see.
Yeah.
Again, we don't have enough angles.
I think there's a photographer down there, so there's probably some angle. Yeah, you're right. Just a little bit of a frustration strip there. But Stephen Najee's coaching, I don't know, 5-6 years now. And if we're talking about if we're talking about the Madden rankings of stats, his timeout calls have gotten very, very, very good.
Sure.
Knows exactly when to call them, knows when to pull the boys off the field, knows how to save possession, and, that's really important. Oh.
And foul call will move that one into the middle. And instead an integrity call to send that one back where it was.
Pila's playing really good defense on Henke at this front cone, but not good enough.
It's really hard to defend that front cone, and even with the situation we're in, Mark Henke wants everyone to know he's still in it.
Oh, yeah. Mark is one of the more fiery players on the Soul, to say the least, and he's not going to take anything lightly.
And I don't know who's going to draw the matchup against Mark. And here's one more look, and that's the wide angle shot, I think. Still no real view there. I don't know who in San Diego is going to draw the Mark Henke matchup, but they are going to be playing against one of the more fired up versions of Mark, I suspect.
Oh, yeah. Especially after a game like this. I mean, he's going to come back. Going to come back ready to go, firing on all cylinders.
So back to the conversation I was initiating when all of that craziness began.
Back to my point.
You look at Carolina, and one of the questions I had coming in tonight is with the kind of changes that happened this year, right?
Yeah.
With Mike DeNardis no longer coaching, and that being a big shift for this franchise overall.
Right.
With some players not playing this year, the loss of Anders Jungst being maybe the most significant one of the most significant losses in the league, I would say.
Yeah.
Then over the course of this year, when I was looking, and now every team, of course, has players missing,
Right.
but you had a lot of key players missing key games, and of course Fairfax missing more than one of those Atlanta matchups.
Right.
So there's maybe a bit of an asterisk on some of those games there. You have to wonder with what we're seeing tonight if you were able to get more participation across the board from some of those star players. No Rutledge Smith here tonight as another piece as well.
Right.
Might the fates of this Carolina team be a little different?
Rich, I think you're spot on there. And it is so hard to, especially as you get older, as you get later into your career, to commit to a very long season. And between this season in the UFA, I mean, they start early, rolling over into a USA cycle, which a lot of these players are quality enough players to play on, into a World's qualifying club year. It is a lot of high competitive ultimate. And, yeah, I think you're entirely right. If there's a little bit more buy-in here, a handful of more players coming over, playing more consistent games for the Flyers, you could see an entirely different result here for the Carolina Flyers regular season.
And, and to be fair, buy-in might not be the right word. There might be other things that are the conflicts there. But, oh, look at this one. Sanner putting an absolute gem, and after a bit of a fight for it, pulled in by Kevin Pignoni.
That's such a nice fundamental shot. Get it to this kind of low near side, open up through the middle of the field and put it over the stack. Just fundamental offense there. And again, this is one of those things that the Soul is trying to do. They are trying to play really hard and aggressive on these unders, but that means that you end up sitting underneath your defender. Or underneath the person that you're defending, right? And then what happens there is you just have all the space over the top. And Carolina is so disciplined with their stack that they are okay isolating that, 1v1 matchup in the deep space, and then you have good enough throwers that can just get the ball into that space. Rich, something you're gonna see with this Carolina team across the board, whether they have their stars or whether there's some people who are missing, they are so fundamentally good with the disc. And they are one of the teams that anybody with the ball needs to be able to throw. Like, that is how they are going to build their system. And that is something that, for better or for worse, I think the Soul can learn from a team like Carolina, is have those ball skills.
And you saw Miles really
I thought he was about to just
Carson.
crank that, Rich.
He was going to send it late.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm giving this to little bro if I can.
Yeah. He was hearing me talking about ball skills.
Reese Bowman goes up.
Whoa!
Reese Bowman! And that's something I have been waiting to do all year, is say those two words on the aerial attack. Bowman gets big.
Jeez. They call him the Lanky Ghost, Rich. They call him that because of a Discord server name, but it's because he sneaks into space, and then all of a sudden the disc goes up, and then I'm going to say it. Ready? Boo! There it is. Easy goal there for Bowman over the top.
And I had lunch with Reese recently. Yeah, he's
sorry. He's getting those calves loose. I don't know. Sorry, you're getting lunch.
We had lunch recently, and I told him, Reese, you're playing too much good fundamental ultimate.
Yeah.
I need to see some 50-50 balls so I can see you go up and sky some people.
Oh boy.
And I guess he took the memo.
Yeah. Oh, maybe he's saving it for the club season, Rich. But let me tell you, he is an exciting player to watch and has some great highlights.
Welkener playing off, trying to shut down the angle.
Now,
Mitchell has been shooting tonight.
Rich, you talked about that point of maybe last season where Carolina was just fine burning minutes and minutes and minutes off the clock. And they are in a position here where they are fine taking as many throws as they need to, because they feel like they probably have this game right where they want it to be.
3 and change left and up by 6. I think Carolina should just have fun, and here we go. Laviolette streaking. Does not get paid off.
Oh, feed the man.
Oh! And Saketh says, guys, don't play with your food.
Wait a dang second. And reel that in.
Palchuru wanted none of that, and that one floats over the head of Gomez. Laviolette does have Terrence Mitchell, and man, if there was ever a clinic that Alan Laviolette taught, and wow, Mitchell still with the hops going for the dunk.
Still getting up there.
I don't know what he's eating or what his workout plan is, but literally everyone should be on it. Terrence Mitchell is maybe a day walker. I don't know. That dude is completely immortal.
Yeah, I tried to do that once, Rich. Broke my hand. Not even kidding. Just first point of a 5v5 tournament up there. Couldn't feel my finger for the rest of the day. So, I don't know. We're on two different diets, clearly. But, I mean, this throw from Laviolette, he sees Mitchell just going long, and there's not a lot of separation there. But he, again, sees that there is the space behind him, can just put it out, float it, put a nice little angle on there, and just give Mitchell all the time in the world to run onto that.
Carolina, if you guys haven't yet, you need to do some social media on Terrence Mitchell's vertical.
Yeah.
It is obscene.
Oh, boy.
And that one gets snagged by Miles Armstrong. And I think that in that conversation, it might have been Najee saying, guys, go out, have some fun, and play Ultimate for the last few minutes here.
Just go out and ball.
Yep.
I mean, go get yourself, again, get yourself in a position where you can make a play and feel good about the game. And right there, that's just, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 passes directly into the space. And Miles goes on up, gets it, gives himself a nice little spike, get fired up. I mean, let's see what they can do in these last couple minutes. you know?
So for those of you playing along at home, this has been a tied second half, 9-9, if you're only looking at quarter 3 and quarter 4. But when you lose the first 2 quarters by 6, it makes it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, it makes it a little tough. But that's promising, I think, that if you can hang with people in the second half, you know, you can kind of say if you're kind of walking away from this, right? You know, the second half can win you games, but it's clear that the first half can lose you games.
Yep.
And that's pretty much what we saw here, is that you come out flat, it's going to be real hard to dig yourself out of that. Oh.
And Laviolette completely alone. And kind of a rough turnover.
Oh, just put it right in between his hands.
Reinhardt to Janelle. Janelle on a bit of an island here.
Oh.
And the disc may be a little bit slippery in the last couple of throws.
Just maybe a little bit of sweat on there. But real unfortunate pair of drops there for both sides.
And that'll put us into the final 90 with Carolina continuing to maintain their lead.
I mean,
and a little update for everybody on what's happening around the UFA. End of the first half, Summit up by 5 on Seattle. And there's another team that's one of last year's championship weekend visitors that has had a season they didn't expect.
Yeah, there's so much parity in the UFA, and you can really see it either with people like moving or just not necessarily having the bandwidth to go in and sign on for a full club season, that it's really hard to think about results year over year over year. I'd say that with the exception of maybe some of the teams in the Northeast, which have empires of power.
Stopped quickly by Austin.
All the time, but everywhere else in the country, you have teams that just kind of come up, they go down. That's a crazy. Oh, he's up. Okay.
Hanky with the disc.
Hanky there with a roll low
Mark
release.
stays back for
Looked like he was down for a second.
the reset.
High backhand to Armstrong. Up the line to Hanky.
Finds Miles Armstrong. Armstrong
Quick
looking
movement.
upfield.
Elliott Moore trying to chase that one down, and he'll get the hold for the Soul.
That's a great throw there from Armstrong. We've seen him a few times kind of put all those different angles on the disc. We saw that big one kind of looping over the top to Bowman, and here, as we'll see on this replay, he just takes a big step on this inside, gets a nice little float there, puts it right out to space, and the speedster like Elliott Moore can just run onto it. So a real good throw there, and that shows a lot of promise, I think, for not only the next couple games, but going forward. Armstrong is a real good thrower. He's going to be something.
And we see how good Soul can be once they get the disc moving. But this really feels like an offense that is very momentum reliant. Once that is set, not moving. It's stuck.
They play extremely well when that motion comes from those big players. One of those guys who you could see that loss from was Jackson Potts. But people are able to fill into those roles, get this offense kind of moving. And you're right, when they're off to the races,
Little
they're
air
off
caught
to the
that
races.
disc, but maintains management. Carolina still with the disc.
Collision in the middle of the field, it looks like, but everybody kind of standing still to know what they're doing.
Carolina still playing catch in the backfield, but
That's the second drop for Hawkins, and it looks like 2 points.
30 seconds to go in the game. Quick score by Austin.
Late break for Austin. And that's one of those garbage time scores that will help make this one look a little bit less painful on the stat sheet.
Yeah, for sure. Bringing it within 5 right at the end there, just a little bit of just off the hands there, a little bit too far for Hawkins. And Reinhardt with some good, quick, fundamental offense there. Get it over to his buddy for the goal. Punch in that break.
And assuming that Carolina does what's expected of them tomorrow at Houston.
Carolina
Carolina has a chance of ending the season 75 winning record. Again, on the outside
Carolina
these
O-line on the
playoffs,
field.
which, you know, San Diego doesn't have to do anything tomorrow, courtesy of their one meeting and win in Carolina's yard, which is maybe the one that
This rolls out
hurts Carolina the
46.
most out of
Andy
all of
Kay,
them.
our favorite referee, sets the
And San
disc
Diego
down.
will be playing against Oakland tomorrow, a game that Colorado will be watching closely.
Quick Lady shot out. Laviolette with the disc.
And then
Looks to
after
hammer.
that, they'll be getting
Gains
themselves
quite a
ready
bit
to
of
come out
ground
here.
there. Deep
As
cut. Laviolette with the disc.
Boston will play
Looks
host for
into
the
end
first
zone,
round of the
back to
South
this
playoffs.
Reset.
The
Carolina
San
takes
Diego Growlers
control.
coming here
8 seconds.
for that first round.
Hard cut to the end zone.
Laviolette
A forced shot.
trying to
There's a
give
turnover.
one more highlight to Jacob Fairfax. Not going to happen, and Fairfax and Mitchell just having a bit of a laugh as Fairfax takes a nap.
Oh, boy.
And there you go. Laviolette just the rare, not quite enough touch out of Allen.
Down to that low side.
You don't see many of those. So in the end, a 5-score game. Seoul end up winning the second half, but that's more for pride than anything else. 24-19 for Carolina. Chris, takeaways and what it needs to happen between now and next.
Look at all this coming, so like, the rain's all going that way. It's flowing like this. So eventually we'll get like that.
Well, good evening once again, and thank you for sticking with us here on the Friday Night Frisbee Showcase presented by Pabst Light. The sun is shining right now here at Zions Bank Stadium, and the fans have just started to come back through the gates. The officials just came out of the tunnel. For the last 20 minutes or so, the teams have been warming up in an indoor turf field right next door to the stadium. So we are hopefully going to resume play soon. Minnesota got the opening score, a clean hold, Gordon Larson to Brian Vanoka in 65 seconds, but then Salt Lake with a clean hold and then back-to-back breaks. So it's a 3-1 lead for the Shred. This game was halted after Salt Lake's pull, and Minnesota will have the disc with 6.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. As the officials and everyone else gets things orchestrated, we welcome you back, Evan Lepler alongside Brian Jones. And Brian, these types of delays are never an easy thing to navigate. You've been in this spot though as a coach. What's it like?
It's just having fun in the locker room. You're just biding your time. You know, these two teams are trying to get the most out of this game. Maybe you're talking adjustments, but really, you're just hanging out with the boys. It's just more time. It's like a road trip a little bit. Try to make up whatever game you can. Of course, when you have the indoor turf field, that'd be nice to go out there and be ready and warmed and ready to go. And I think here it's so cool to see the fans coming back in the stands. Seeing the amount of people that waited around for an hour just to come back and see some Frisbee. This is great.
And right now, we're looking pretty clear on the radar for at least the next hour 20 or so. And I did just get word there's going to be just a 3-minute halftime at the end of the second quarter. So it'll be a very, very brief halftime here tonight. And the Shred and the Wind Chill playing here in week 13, the final weekend of the regular season. Minnesota actually has a home game on Sunday against the Detroit Mechanix at Seafoam Stadium in St. Paul. The Salt Lake Shred are looking forward to their West Division Championship game, which will be 3 weeks from tonight. Two other games in the UFA this evening. Carolina did defeat Austin, which lifts the Atlanta Hustle into the top seed in the South Division playoffs. 24-19 was the final. Carolina eliminated from playoff contention last week, but the Flyers still playing hard, and a victory over Austin tonight makes the Soul the 2 seed. They'll take on San Diego next Saturday in round 1 of the UFA playoffs. The only other game in the UFA tonight, Seattle is at Colorado, and the Summit have the lead 14-9 with just a couple minutes gone in the third quarter. Good first half for Nandamint Fink for Colorado. 3 goals, 2 assists, and a block to lead the Summit against the Cascades. And it's going to be an interesting feel to this game because Minnesota got the clean hold they were looking for at the start, Brian, but then just had some miscues. Matt Rader near the goal line, threw it away. Salt Lake's D-line has been really strong at converting. They're number 1 in the league in their D-line conversion rate. And that pairs nicely with their number 1 O-line conversion rate. So this is a Salt Lake team that everybody has to take seriously as they try to get back to championship weekend.
Right, and you have to take them seriously because of how well they've played. And if you're Salt Lake, this game has a lot of meaning too. We talked about it at the Open. For Minnesota, they're trying to figure out their offense. For Salt Lake, you're trying to figure out how you can get better. You really haven't had these huge moments of adversity. Yes, you've been down at the end of first halves, and you've had great second halves and finished strong in almost every game lately. But it's how is the team going to play you in the playoffs? What are they going to do differently to make you be tested in different ways? You almost don't want your D-lines to be as efficient as they are because you want this Minnesota defense to have an opportunity to test you and glean all the information you can going into that West Division Championship game. And that's the tough part when you're on top. You've got to go figure out all the ways other teams are going to challenge you.
Salt Lake Shred will be hosting the West Division Championship game for the 3rd year in a row. Back in their first season, they had to play at Colorado, but this will be their 4th year in a row in the Final 8. And you look at what Salt Lake has done. I mean, all time, this franchise entering tonight, 44-9. They've won 83% of their games. That is far and away the best winning percentage for all active UFA franchises. The Empire and the Radicals are but tied for second, around 72% win rate. So you think 83% of their games they have won, and yet the West Division only has 1 win in the last 6 championship weekends, and that was Salt Lake's Joel Clutton deflection overtime victory over the Wind Chill. Is there something about the West Division that makes them a step behind the rest of the UFA, in your mind?
Well, I think in this division specifically, they play a really wide open brand of Ultimate. A lot of hucks, and they play at elevation. Both Salt Lake and Colorado have that elevation factor that make discs fly differently. And when you get to the playoffs and you get the championship weekend, when that advantage goes away, it's not the advantage anymore. It's not going to help you win those games in normal air, and so it can be that disadvantage. And so that's what's tough about it. I also think that Salt Lake's, who's been representing the West in a couple of these years, they're a young team. They're not full of savvy veterans. They're a bunch of upstarts in a good way. Bryce Merrill's done a fantastic job with the team this year, but they're still young. They're still inexperienced. They're still finding their way. And when they go up against the Empire, whose average age is 27 to 30s, that Empire team has had the experience factor to know how to lock in and not be nervous. A guy like Ben Yacht talks about it famously, where he just doesn't get nervous. He's a gamer. He's what you need in those moments.
Bryce Merrill really handles this team in a different way than a lot of other UFA coaches. And we saw the halftime speech last week against Colorado, and they were down 9-8. It was a chill. I mean, it gave me chills watching. I probably watched it 10 times. I'm curious, Brian, as someone who's coached in this league and has managed top players, like, what stands out most to you about the way Bryce Merrill manages and leads his team?
Extremely organized, and it's his way. It's all coordinated, and I don't think he is dictatorial, but I think he knows what he wants to get out of every player, and he finds ways to get them there. And he has a different way of looking at things. He's been a big part of this Utah come up in terms of BYU, in terms of the college scene growing, in terms of the UFA scene growing. And so the way he talks about the game is extremely different than other coaches. He has different ways of looking at things, similar concepts, yes, but he does such a great job of doing things uniquely and finding his own path to do so. And I think culturally, he's what these players need. And I think moving forward, he's figuring out how to grow as a coach. You go through that in your first several years of making maybe slight adjustments to what you want to do, because the only thing that I think is holding back the Salt Lake team is that experience, that composure in the biggest of moments.
What's the best halftime speech you ever gave?
Really putting me on the spot there. I didn't have to give big, good halftime speeches with the Empire. You knew that. Come on.
What about with the Dragons?
Oh, the Dragons. The Dragons, we had a game against Toronto where we knew we were out of the playoffs, but going up against them meant more than just being out of the playoffs. And competing against the very best at that point in time was huge. I'm not going to reenact it for you right now, Evan.
Maybe later?
Maybe later.
All right, you see the 7 on the field, plus Bryce Merrill. The D-line for the Shred, Will Selfridge is out there on D. And this Minnesota O-line broken on its last 2 points. We had Kimball Pugh to Alex Forsberg, the connection that paired many times last week against Colorado, and also Ben Ashton finding Luke Jorgensen after Nate DeMorgan hit Jorgensen with a deep shot. So Salt Lake right now is 100% completion rate in this game. They're 29 for 29. They're 2 for 2 on breaks. Minnesota is 27 for 29, and both their turns have been punished. After a delay, just over an hour, we are ready to resume, and the pull was out of bounds, so Josh Klain has it at the brick, and he shoots deep for Matt Rader immediately. Forsberg and Selfridge are there. Selfridge bodied Rader out of the play, and Forsberg easily intercepts it for the shred. And then Gene LaRue drops the first throw, and it gives Minnesota a golden chance here in the red zone. Grant to Larson. Didn't take long for the intensity of this game to pick up right where it left off. And that's another block for the shred. LaRue anticipates it. Mahonga shoots it. LaRue sprinting, the disc floating. LaRue is not in yet. But the Salt Lake Shred convert. Kimball Pugh picks up right where Salt Lake's D-line left off. 4-1 Shred. Wow.
Salt Lake's doing an incredible job here, Evan, of poaching the open side lane. There's no room there. Minnesota continues to try to work it up there. 2 turnovers after the deep shot to Rader and try to jam it in the end zone. And then a great fast break. Looking deep for LaRue. And you can just see almost Minnesota feeling defeated. It is tough out here for them right now. We saw this a couple weeks ago against Chicago. You've had the rain delay. You've come out, it felt intense. That's great. Rise up to the challenge.
What do you think of the contact between Selfridge and Rader in the deep space?
I thought it was probably a foul, but not one that's likely to be called in a tight game. I don't really have a problem with a no call. I think Selfridge just has to do a better job of not initiating contact there.
Paul Krennic playing D-line tonight, but gets an O-point here. Ben Feldman not going back to that O-line that just got broken yet again. This is Kyle Suflo, youngster out of McAllister College. Resets for the Wind Chill's all-time blocks leader, Dylan DeClerc. And here's Suflo to Vandy Mortel. Luke Jorgensen on the mark. The atmosphere here at Zions Bank Stadium, you wouldn't even have known there was a delay. The fans, feels like all of them are still here. Lively and as energetic as ever, and the Shred are playing with that same defensive pop. Big bid from Oscar Brown. But Cousins in the middle flips it to Dylan DeClerc. We got a whistle though. It's a pick. The whistle came with the disc in the air. And this one's coming back, it appears. DeClerc appealing for an integrity call. But the pick will nullify that score and force Minnesota to keep working. And a whistle as Cousins relieved it, and it's a contact call on the mark. So this is like triple score here for the Wind Chill, Brian.
Getting those end zone reps.
Cousins again to the end zone, and it's dropped by Vandy Mortel. Oh my goodness.
Bad to worse.
Unreal. They literally caught 2 passes in the end zone. Both came back. Vandy Mortel had it in both hands. The Shred are no longer perfect. They had the turnover on the first throw of that break chance before the LaRue block a point ago. But DeMorgan sees the deep cutters. Luke Jorgensen and Kyle Weinberger both there. And it's Jorgensen winning the foot race. 5-1.
The fitness from this Salt Lake Shred D-line is incredible. A devastating drop leads to efficient D-line offense. And DeMorgan throws up the huck and just right there. And
Agonizing.
You wish he had gone up a little bit more for that. Normally don't have to think about it. And then James Pollard is an athlete. And with this disc in the air, this is one he wants to chase down. But you can see that Salt Lake's D-line, whatever conditioning they're doing, it's working.
And Nate DeMorgan, at 19 years old, coming off a college championship this past May, has taken a bunch of those shots with confidence. Couple hucks already for DeMorgan. Minnesota on the ropes right now. Feels like we've been here for a while, Brian, but this is still the first quarter. A lot of Frisbee still to be played, but this feels a little bit like the Chicago game 2 weeks ago.
And they're having trouble dealing with the poaches. They're second guessing where they're looking. They're trying to jam it into comfortable spaces. The biggest thing I see is they are not able to find the open hands and realize who's being poached. That is the toughest part, and Salt Lake looks like they're taking a page out of Chicago's playbook.
After the contact call downfield, Larson throws it away on the restart. McKay Jorgensen picks up, quickly finds Tony Moonga, who flips it into the end zone for Alex Forsberg. 6 straight goals for the Salt Lake Shred.
Complete domination, complete implosion by the wind chill. They're seeing ghosts out there. They don't know where to go with it. And credit Salt Lake's defense. The fast break at the turn is getting the job done. These 2 D-lines with incredible efficiency, but I got to tell you, Evan, I don't know why the D-line is going out there for Minnesota right now. It has been not very many passes.
They're taking a timeout. Minnesota's taken a timeout since the restart. They've been broken 3 times in 3.5 minutes.
What is the point? It doesn't matter if you win this game if you're Minnesota. It doesn't matter, right? You're preparing for the playoffs to get better. How can you expect an O-line to go out there and get in a groove if after one mistake they're yanked? And I get it. In a game, there are benefits to having a D-line that can go out in the field and play an offensive point after a long break. But that's not what's happened out here. It's been quick turnovers, barely any defense played.
Get back on track, all right? Find value in every fucking point you play. You gotta get back on track. Once you swing in, and come back on defense, all right? Let's do it.
Very different vibes from championship weekend for the Minnesota wind chill here in Salt Lake City.
Well, the confidence just isn't there. And for a variety of reasons, right? And you get into the late in the season, you're trying to change of what you do well, and it's a difficult spot to be in. It's a difficult place to coach. But there's a certain point where even in the toughest possessions, these are elite players that can go out there and they can play throw and catch and make a possession easier over time. It is about getting back to basics. Let them work through it. And Evan, I know you know this, Phil Jackson famously wouldn't call timeouts when the Bulls were struggling. He would let them figure it out. You'd hear that from Greg Popovich. There are times when stuff just isn't going right and it's on the players.
Well, it's kind of a hodgepodge line out there. Most of the O-line is out there. Kyle Suflo gets an O-point with Brandt and Rader and Larson and Savell Fernandez and Klain. Greg Cousins out there as well. Minnesota scored first. That was about an hour and a half ago now. Officially, it was with 10:55 to go in the first, but you get the point. Klain rips it, just like championship weekend. Josh Klain dials deep and finds Kyle Suflo, the wind chill rookie, with the first goal in a long time for Minnesota.
A great rip. What we've known Josh Klain can do for many years. Watching him from his Minnesota college days, this is his skill set. His ability to float it over the defense, just enough pace, keeping it in bounds. He is a fantastic thrower to watch.
It's going to be the 9th point of the game, Brian. It is the second O point for the Shred. And the pull was intended to land and roll out of bounds, but it didn't land in. So Pollard's pull sails wide, and instead of setting up a double team on the sideline, it's McKay Jorgensen, 10 yards shy of midfield. Working with Jacob Miller in the backfield. Kerr pivots and finds Miller. Selfridge coming underneath. And it's been a long time since this Salt Lake O-line played a point. They held on their opening O point, the second point of the game. And they will hold here. Dunabile's got a goal and an assist. And Jordan Kerr gets his first score of the night.
Great chemistry by the Salt Lake O-line, doing a great job of not looking in one place for too long, moving the ball quickly, and in sequence. There's always another cutter coming. That's just fantastic offense to watch.
They don't lean on one guy. I mean, it feels like everyone on that line is kind of interchangeable and can slot in the backfield, downfield. Everyone's comfortable throwing the disc. Everyone's comfortable handling a double team. You pointed out a pregame warm-up drill that they were doing that you liked.
Yeah, they were playing basically two-on-two. A pass would go out wide, and then they'd add a third defender late and do an impromptu double team. And the two offensive players would have to work against three defensive players. It was a great drill to just find the open hands, find the open space, and some quick movement.
And to handle the unexpected double team when it comes. Here's Klain, he ripped one deep earlier. He's gonna launch backhand, looking for Shope. Moonga's approaching, but Klain connects again. A missile from the UFA veteran Josh Klain, top 10 all time in assists. He's added 2 in the last 2 O points for the Wind Chill.
Whether it's a backhand or a forehand, he knows how to put the right edge on it. He's been doing it for years, in fact. I always used to call him Beckham because of the way he could bend his flicks. That's how long he's been around that Dave Beckham was still a valid reference back then.
Let's go, defense.
And that's what we are seeing from kind of the retooled Minnesota offense, is these short throws to get the offense moving, hold possession, and then wait to take your shot. It's not complicated.
Josh Klain now tied with Jonathan Nethercutt for 7th all time in assists in UFA history, just through his 353rd. Hanson's bid comes up empty. Shred O-line looking to stay perfect. Miller downfield for Dunabile. Up the line, a floater, but McKay Jorgensen is there. And he'll shoot it for his brother. Chad Jorgensen makes the adjustment and brings it in. Jorgensen to Jorgensen, 8-3.
What better chemistry to have. In this one, this decision hung up in the air a little bit. Ever since we've gotten back from break, the wind has been a factor, and those backhands have a tendency to bounce. But they read it well.
In case you've lost track, that's now 3 goals for the Shred, caught by a Jorgensen in this first quarter. Luke's got 2 with the D-line, and Chad just grabbed his first. Good to see their mother Dawn before the game. Of course, she had delicious chocolate chip cookies for us for the 2nd week in a row.
It was great. During the rain delay, perfect.
And it was no average chocolate chip cookie.
No, that was made with a lot of love.
Josh Klain doesn't wait for the buzzer. Floats this one deep. If Salt Lake gets the block, they'll have a chance to go the other way. Moonga with 3, gets it. Weinberg hucks it the other way. A battle at the buzzer in the end zone to our left, and it's deflected and spiked to the ground by Larson. And Salt Lake is not going to add a cherry to the top of their beautiful ice cream first quarter. But, man, that was just the second turnover of the quarter for the Shred as they thoroughly outplay and dominate the Minnesota Wind Chill. One quarter down, 3 to play. Minnesota pulling to Salt Lake to start the second. The Shred offense, and not just the offense, but the entire Salt Lake team, has had 3 turnovers in their last 3 quarters, and then they turn it over a couple throws into this second period. So a break chance here for Minnesota, a gift, quite frankly, and Vandy Mortel gets the bit on the mark from Selfridge and then swings it for DeClercq. DeClercq throws it to a wide open Kyle Soufflo in the back corner of the end zone. And Minnesota breaks 40 seconds into the second. That's their first break of the night.
You call it the gift, and that was what it was. It was wrapped up in a bow. And this is easy as it gets, slips out of the hands. Wondering if that's a wet disc. And finally, the Wind Chill finding the open hands against the Poachy Salt Lake defense. Salt Lake's doing an excellent job of overloading wherever the disc is. They are making you think about throwing any up lines really carefully and poaching off the defenders, receivers in the back. It's a great end zone defensive strategy. Minnesota has to find a way to get comfortable finding those open receivers more often.
Second goal of the night for Kyle Soufflo, and Dylan DeClercq, more frequently he's scoring goals. He's got 21 goals this season. That's just his 4th assist. McKay Jorgensen right back to work for the Salt Lake offense. Had 3 turnovers in the last 3 quarters, included the quarter-ending turnover at the end of the first. And a travel goes against Kerr, and Blake Crapful applauds the call. Got Justin Burnett guarding Will Selfridge downfield, and you got Brian Vinoka making a play on Chad Jorgensen underneath. Minnesota trying to change the tenor of this game dramatically. Justin Burnett unmarked, throws the goal, back-to-back breaks for the Chill, and it's a 3-goal game.
Well, the first one was a gift. This one was a great block by Bevon. Brian Vinoka comes on the underneath like a missile, reads it well, and then after that, it's a pretty simple offense. Burnett finds the open hands, and a little bit of life. This is the Wind Chill strength. When they can get on the front foot, get their D-line on the field. It makes life a lot easier.
Brian, due to the chaos at the start of the game and the weather delay, we never got to our victory keys to the game. They are very relevant now, just as they were at the start.
Right, keep the D-line on the field if you're Minnesota. That has been the key, and they haven't lived up to it in the first half. The offense in that first quarter, not the start they needed. They're getting back to business here in the second. And for Salt Lake City, the Shred, they've got to survive that double team. We'll see some key contributors tonight, some new throwers stepping into those double team trap situations. We're surely to see it from Minnesota at some point.
To bump on the mark, Lacey colliding with Luke Jorgensen. Different looking O-line here. Nate DeMorgan is out there. Kimball Pugh is out there. Nathan Huff, tough catch by Pugh in traffic. Every point I watch Kimball Pugh play, I come away more and more impressed.
This is great defense from the wind chill.
What are you seeing?
A lot of really good poaches downfield, anticipation of what's coming next, and denying the first couple looks. The Shred are doing a great job of moving on, but there's not much open right now.
Here's DeMorgan to Weinberg. Salt Lake has broken through the initial wave, and now the question is, can the wind chill recover? Maonga was unmarked for a while. Finds the open hands downfield in Huff. Oh, near bid from Lacey. But it's caught by Luke Jorgensen, and he finds Kyle Weinberg for the Salt Lake hold. It's a gutty hold from a group of guys that doesn't play a lot of O points in this league.
It is a gutty hold. They found their way through it, and it just builds confidence to go through those situations against a top defense like Minnesota. A few key moments where the block almost came, and after that, just find the open hands. If you're Minnesota, if this wasn't a 9-5 game, you feel really good about that defensive point. I still think it's great you've gotten 2 breaks in a row. The defensive pressure is there. You can build confidence now going into the playoffs if your O-line continues to find ways to hold and get you back in this game.
Weinberg scores the goal, stays on the field to pull. Plain handles it on a bounce and centers to Brandt. No mark greets Brandt, and he just chills and finds Rader, who zips it downfield for Bevon. Vinoco, a little shimmy. Continues for Shope. Double team on the youngster out of Carleton, playing against his college teammate Nate DeMorgan tonight. A couple recent college champions. Noah Hansen for the wind chill was one of the coaches of that cut squad that won it all in Washington State on Memorial Day weekend.
Minnesota being pushed back right now. Their spacing is really large, giving a ton of space to cutters, but when they get too deep, you can see that the handlers get stranded. And now the poaching starts, and Minnesota goes from being too large to being condensed. They're not finding that right middle ground to beat poaches and not be too far away from each other.
Larson to the end zone, finds Vinoca. Good cut by Bevon, better throw from Larson.
I can talk about spacing all day. I can talk about structure. I can talk about the right way to do things. But Larson there just delivered a strike. That was a fantastic throw. That inside lane, not much window. Delivers it to Bevon in stride.
I thought Thomas Shope made a couple really key cuts during that O point. Ben Feldman talking to us before the game about just how much energy and speed he brings. And we saw it there.
Yeah, when things are going wrong, it doesn't matter what you really do as long as you run hard and you throw to open hands. And Shope can bring that to an O-line. He doesn't need to make it complicated. Just keep going. And if you're Minnesota, this is great confidence here in the second half to keep building because it gets your best unit on the field, your D-line with a chance to break and make this game even tighter.
Shope played 9 0 points in each of Minnesota's last 2 games. Before that, he had played 165 D, 0-0. Dunabile, deep, runs it down. Not in though, working in the red zone on the goal line. Resets for McKay. To Miller. To Selfridge. Wide open.
That was their first huck that we've seen from that O-line whole game long. A lot of teams, Colorado has been forcing Salt Lake out, forcing them to take the deep shots, and it wasn't until right now that Minnesota really took that chance. I believe Evan's checking my math to make sure that is indeed the first huck of the Salt Lake O-line of the game.
It was Chad Jorgensen launching it deep. And most of the hucks have been from the D-line.
It was a beautiful shot, too.
To Morgan a couple, LaRue.
They are able to just put these long hucks out because you can put everything on and that disc is going to carry.
And here's Salt Lake throwing a sideline double team at the wind chill. And Brandt pretty easily gets it off the line to Vinoka. Savell Fernandez continues to show. Larson. Quick little give and go. Raider sees traffic, loses his hat, gets a foul call against Browning. Raiders like, you hit me in the head. Raider to the end zone, got it. Minnesota's offense has finally stabilized here in the second quarter.
This is huge for them. This is exactly what you need to see, their ability to work through it.
Yeah.
One of the things that kicked that off is that Matt Raider got the dish. Didn't even try to look downfield. We see here, he did get hit in the head. Thankfully only lost his hat, gets a foul call out of it, and delivers the perfect around to Larson. But earlier in that possession, he catches in the sideline, doesn't even bother to look for cutters, puts it right back where it came from, goes across the field, gets the give and go, gets the foul, gets the goal.
Brian, today Matt Raider turns 34 years old, but he's been playing Elite Ultimate for a very long time. I'm guessing your first Matt Raider Ultimate memory precedes the existence of the UFA or the AUDL.
A young Matt Raider versus Bo Kittredge in his prime. That was a fun battle to watch.
They had a lot of great battles. Raider with Seattle, Kittredge with the Bay Area. Battles at the pro level as well. And Raider has been a nice addition for this Minnesota team, bringing all of his experience, all of his veteran savvy, and obviously he still has the nuclear athleticism.
He's always been a special player.
Yeah.
Making the top Seattle teams at 16 years old.
Miscommunication there. Second break chance. Making the third break chance now for Minnesota. And Ben Feldman takes a timeout.
What a huge moment here for the Minnesota O-line to come on the field to make this a 2-point game. Talk about a moment to build confidence.
Let's try and listen in.
What's up, Delta, Gordon, Leo, Craig? Yeah. Let me go through. Let's go. Hey, all right, that's good. Back out to 3. I think you want 0. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. Hey, you want 2?
It's a fascinating mix of youth and experience. You got Klain, Raider, and Bevon. These three guys who have been around the highest levels of Ultimate for a long time. And they got Shope, who just finished his freshman year of college. Larson and Brandt, who just won the D3 championship last year. And Leo Savell Fernandez, that won a D3 championship at Middlebury a few years before that. I mean, 3 guys in their 30s, 4 guys just beginning to head toward their primes.
Moving the disc up quickly, a really fun play to start out. Not anything I've actually seen before. 4 people really condensed, 2 of them fading downfield. And they're right in the end zone set.
Tricky throw, Brandt executes it well. Vinoka resets for Savell Fernandez. Larson gives it right back to Leo. Larson to his college teammate, Brandt. Larson makes a move, can't get free, but Isabel Fernandez does, and dishes to Shope for the score.
Huge.
After trailing by as many as 5, Minnesota's back within 2.
I don't think you can overstate the importance of that point. They get the turnover, call the timeout. Your offense has been maligned, has not been working well. They work it down with ease. It wasn't lucky. It didn't require a huck and a 50-50 sky. It was great play. Got Josh Klein open, got Will Brandt the disc in the end zone set. You're looking at an O-line that's maybe getting back on track.
Feel free to reject the premise of this question, but I'm curious how much you think the 2 Josh Klein hucks help to open things up and make everybody a little bit more comfortable and confident.
They're huge. You got to score. You got to put goals in the end zone. There's no other way to put it. And when you can get it to a good thrower who can blast it, it's as simple as it gets. This is a simple but hard game.
Now Salt Lake offense having been broken 3 times in this quarter. A little bit eerie. Russ Nagel's been quiet. 15 goals in his last 3 games coming into tonight, but none so far this evening. Of course, Salt Lake's O-line barely got to play in the first quarter of this game.
You can see how Salt Lake's forced to work with their handlers right now.
Jacob Miller shoots it, and it's knocked down by Cam Lacey, who poaches off and anticipates it beautifully. Minnesota could get back within 1. Burnett, guarded by Selfridge. A whistle, and it's not a timeout, it's a contact call against the Shred.
Minnesota's out of timeouts. They already used the first one.
That's right.
Early on, between points, which is a rarity in the UFA.
Burnett after the whistle.
I know we talked
Flips it to Lacey. Go ahead, Brian.
I know we talked about the wind chill not having resets, but they've gone from having 0 resets to now 4. It looks like in the backfield. Whatever they can do to get the ball moving.
4 resets better than no resets? Well, Suflo into the ground. Missed opportunity there for Minnesota.
Burnett tripped on his cut before that turnover. He's not looking like he's at complete full speed right now.
Selfridge unleashes. Suflo has position. Miller's chasing, and Suflo endured some contact from behind from Miller, but he gets the block. Clock continues to tick as we go under 3 minutes to play. And this is the second break chance of the point for the wind chill as they try to get back within 1.
The handlers are still open for Salt Lake, but the wind chill have found a way to disrupt the cutters for the Shred. They are second guessing themselves. They're not moving with decisiveness like they had earlier in the game.
Danny Mortel pivots into Jordan Kerr and gets the call. Bryce Merrill with his hands in the air, barking at the refs as he promised to do. Crossfield blade, Selfridge hunting, but it's Crapful who gets there for the chill. He sees the open hands of Lacey in the middle, who zips it to the open space. It pops up, but Burnett adjusts, and Minnesota's within 1. How about this? They were down 8-3, and it's a 6-2 run here in the second quarter.
They were down 8-3, and I got to tell you, Evan, I was writing their obituary for the rest of the season. This did not look good. The offense didn't look like it was going to function, and then a couple of Josh Klein hucks, 1 gift from the Shred, and then the defense has come alive. This is a confident team. An incredible, meaningfully turned around game. It doesn't matter that this game does not affect the standings. This game means way more to Minnesota to find that confidence, to regain that championship pedigree, that attitude.
Towering pull, had to be 75 feet in the air.
What a bounce.
Monga flips it up the line for Huff. Tough cross field for Branson. Minnesota's defenders just flying around with more purpose and confidence right now. But Weinberg catches it near the sideline. He's got nowhere to go, and he takes the timeout.
Great timeout call. High stall count, had no options, saves a possession.
And yet the wind chill defense has to feel pretty good about that timeout call too.
They shut down every option in that. Yes, the Shred gained a lot of yards getting into the end zone set, but they took away everything.
Hey, McKay and Luke out. McKay, Luke. McKay's ball or McKay's up line? I want McKay on the up line. Let's go Kimball on ball with McKay in the up line. We are double rush. We're looking for the 3 in the stack. Tony 1, myself 2, Huff 2, Morgan 3. Nate 3, Kyle 5.
It is a little disappointing that we don't get all 3 Jorgensens on the field here. Just Jorgensen line, go. They play 3 on 7. They probably would still score.
Well, maybe if you and Bryce had done a little bit better in pickleball today, I think you won all your games. Maybe you would have been able to convince him.
We were focused on the task at hand at the time. But yeah, I played with Bryce this morning. We had fun.
They're going to try to get a lot of players going up line here and find the open hands.
Oh no, Kimball Pugh finds the open hands of Noah Hansen. Minnesota, can they tie this thing up? Pollard working with Krennic, who shoots it to the end zone. And it's Pugh who rips it away. What a block from Kimball Pugh. And near the sideline, Salt Lake gives it right back. Shred have just been a little dicey. And Minnesota with another chance to capitalize. No timeout, so just a deep shot. And it'll flow past everybody and serve as a punt. Clock should stop. Out of bounds in the final minute of the quarter. What do we got? A whistle. Oh, there were multiple discs, I think, set up with the game disc that we're playing with sailing away and another official moving it.
Clearing everybody out. I've definitely been in violation of those sideline rules before. I've never gotten a card for bad language or being mad at an official, but I've gotten plenty of cards for violating the sideline rules.
Contact against Minnesota. 44 seconds to play in the second.
And you notice here, Bryce Merrill is not using a timeout to get the offensive line on the field. He wants, I think, this D-line to work through this.
Here's Branson. Bluffs the big backhand. Looking for McKay, but not really a lane to find him. And in the reset space, Vandy Mortel bids and fouls McKay Jorgensen. Clock stops with 26 seconds to play. Feels like a pivotal moment in the game. Can Salt Lake maintain the lead? Can they double their lead? McKay floats it for DeMorgan. Big, booming lefty backhand. He's got Tony Moonga. Another majestic and perfect shot from the 19-year-old phenom, Nate DeMorgan.
He is so much fun to watch. Moonga, just like a look of disbelief on his face. Huge chance for the Winchell. And Krennic tries to put one up too early. They get another one, but they have to punt it. Bryce Merrill leaves his defense on the field, doesn't use the final timeout. Great defense by the Winchell, but DeMorgan just knows how to put the right edge on it. It doesn't feel like he can miss sometimes.
DeMorgan is 4 for 4 for 117 total yards, averaging about 30 yards per completion. He had a couple of short ones. Can Minnesota respond at the buzzer. It's Soufflo near the sideline, throws it, gonna make it to the end zone, I think. And it's Pollard who leapt and got a hand on it, but could not rip it down. And he can't believe it eluded him. But hang on, there's a call. The half is not over.
And the clock right now is not showing the correct one, neither the stadium clock or our game clock is.
They need to fix the clock before this play resumes. There's probably just one untimed throw. Can't believe the officials didn't set the clock in the stadium. Soufflo's shot to the end zone is caught at the buzzer by Brian Vinoka. Chaos here in Salt Lake City, and Minnesota, after trailing by 5, will be down just 1 at the half. Bryce Merrill is screaming at the head referee, and I understand, because the clock showed 1:49. I mean, you gotta reset the stadium clock before you replay that final sequence. I'm with Bryce on this one, but Minnesota within 1. They'll receive to start the third with a chance to tie.
Incredible. I think I might have, we'll discuss it at halftime, Evan, but I might have to write the apology note to the Minnesota wind chill. Down 8-3, left for dead, down by 1. This feels like a miracle going into the second half. Merrill continuing to talk to the refs. And it's only going to be a 3-minute half. They're not going to go to the locker rooms. With that rain delay, we're going to get right back into it. This feels like a huge surge for the wind chill.
Well, Minnesota was dominated in the first quarter. They trailed 8-3. They win the second quarter 7-3. We got a 1-goal game here on Friday Night Frisbee in Salt Lake City. On the green stage, huge bid, gets the touch. It's a great opportunity for the Germans, and they break it in. Throw it the full 80 yards to the field? Are you kidding me? And an incredible catch. You are kidding me. Oh my God! Throw like a pro with a new Pro Ultimate Frisbee. Created with input from the sport's premier passers, the Pro Frisbee is specially designed to fly through the wind and maintain its edge. Experience the official Frisbee of the UFA and get yours at shopufa.com today. Well, it's been a wild night, and this was a wild sequence at the end of the first half. A call on the throw gave Minnesota a second chance at the buzzer beater. They didn't reset the clock, but Soufflo connects with Vinoka, and that score brings Minnesota within 1. I feel like we could use a little bit of a breather to catch our breath and evaluate what's transpired, but the shortened halftime, third quarter already underway, Brian Jones.
Well, originally I didn't know why Bryce was so hot, but it looks like they abandoned the double team because they thought there was time on the clock, Salt Lake City that is, and so as a result, that throw was able to go up. I don't think you leave the double team with zeros on the clock.
Bad throw from Brandt on the swing, looking for Savel Fernandez. Picked up quickly by Ben Ashton, and just a couple throws later, It's Luke Jorgensen continuing his big night for the Shred D-line.
Will Brandt was being wrapped up at halftime in a 3-minute half, and you can see it. It looks like maybe on the right quad or right hamstring. I wonder if that played a role. He's been a superstar in the making ever since last year with the D3 National Championship and then the UFA Championship. That's just a bad throw.
Another assist for Nate DeMorgan. He's got a game-high 3 assists, 6 completions. Only Tony Moonga, of all people, has more total yards tonight for Salt Lake than Nate DeMorgan. I know we've seen a crazy comeback already, but this feels like a critical offensive possession here for this Minnesota O-line. Vanoka downfield connects with Cousins. He'll rip it long. It's flat and floating near the sideline. A beauty from Greg Cousins. Thomas Shope accelerates away from his Shred defender and runs it down. Chill back within 1.
Cousins with a lot of offensive experience in his career, coming over with Shope to the O-line. And this wind chill offense has continued to find their confidence and a little bit of groove here in the second half.
Brian, Greg Cousins was a great offensive player in this league. 2017 in particular, he scored 62 goals and had 32 assists. Played in 2018 as well, and then he took 6 years off. Returned to the wind chill last year, but he's a tremendously talented player, and he shows it right there. Selfridge, marked by Burnett. McKay wraps the forehand to Chad. Miller. McKay again gets rid of it quickly to his brother. Chad to Selfridge. Jacob Miller still cutting hard. McKay to Kerr. Solid patience from Salt Lake. Kerr looking for a lane and finds one with Selfridge driving into the end zone. Shred back up by 2.
Selfridge is so good for a player of his age. Making the national team. They missed him for a little bit coming back from Europe. And this was a good possession to right the ship. A lot of patience. A lot of intentionality, composure. Taking their time, working through it, whatever adjustments they made seem to have worked.
If we do get a Salt Lake-Boston game in the playoffs, it would certainly be interesting with Gene LaRue and Reed Browning being former Boston guys. Oscar Graff, former Shred, now with the Glory. It's kind of you wouldn't think of like the Boston Salt Lake connections, but there are several of them. There are some dark clouds off to our left. I knew a little over an hour ago that we might get some more weather around 9:30, 9:40 local time. That needs to be a part of the thought process. If this game gets delayed again, I don't know if it would be restarted. We are past the halfway point, so it is an official game if we had to start and could not resume. Brandt's throw finds his target, Rader. We have seen a different offensive structure from Minnesota tonight, and obviously it was a nightmarish start but they found a little bit of a groove after the first quarter concluded.
And it was really thanks to this man, Josh Klein, finding a couple possessions to settle, throw a couple hucks, make Salt Lake respect it.
Shope swing, finds Brandt. He's bumped on the mark by Moonga. Officials let him play through it. Klein. You know, he'd love to rip one deep, but this is a tricky part of the field for a deep shot, unless you're launching cross field. Here's a cross field shot to the open space, and Brandt is in the end zone. Well floated by Vinoka. 1-goal game again.
They're doing the hard work. It isn't pretty all the time. But Vinoka comes in, gets the disc, and Brandt, I love to call this the wrong sided. You have leverage because of Vinoka, and you can see Muonga, nothing he can really do. That is an open free throw. Created by Vinoka, getting the disc in the right spot. It hasn't been pretty. Like this new structure for the wind chill, they are being forced to go backwards. It's not something that they've been known for. We talked to Ben Feldman, the coach, before the game. He was talking about how a lot of their offense has always been moving forward. So they end up either with a short possession with fewer throws than every other team in the league, or with the turnover. And now they're trying to move into a little bit more small ball. Find new ways to get some things done.
Dunabile finds a reset in Miller. Here's Selfridge. Chad Jorgensen thought about the huck. That's a nice throw. McKay continues for Dunabile, and he'll rip it. Nate DeMorgan going deep. Nate DeMorgan! The tumbling score for the Salt Lake Shred. This kid can do it all.
He's done it with his throws. He's done it with the lefty hucks. And here, he seizes the moment, sees the open space. Dunabile puts it past the three defenders, giving chase. And there was only one person who could get it.
Bryce Merrill told me before the game that Dunabile and DeMorgan were both going to get some O-line reps tonight. He made it sound like one of the two might be out there and the other would be helping the D-line. Obviously, they collaborate for that O-line score. Both O-lines kind of settling in here in this third quarter. Klein sees the under, one-handed grab by Cousins. Cousins has had a role that has been fluctuating throughout the season. He's been on O, he's been on D, he's been outside the top 20, but he's made some plays here tonight. An important veteran presence for sure for this Minnesota squad.
What's tough here for Minnesota is when their offense is bogged down, you can tell players are looking around and saying, well, whose cut is it? They're trying something new, which is what they had to do, but it's going to lead to these moments of confusion where people aren't sure, is it whose turn is it to cut? Is it yours? Is it mine? Where do we look? And all of a sudden everybody gets stationary.
Difficult throw, and it's perfectly put by Larson. Vinoka runs it down to the back corner.
Just a little bit of swagger. Exactly what you need to see. Larson first with that inside break we talked about earlier. Finding his favorite target of the day, Vinoka, this time with a perfect same third arcing huck.
And a strong reaction from Larson behind the play when it connected, pumping both fists toward the wind chill bench. Well, in the first quarter tonight, Brian, it felt like we're going to have a lot of time to preview the playoffs and maybe talk about the MVP race. Ask you about your upcoming future becoming a dad, which we're all very excited about, but Turns out we got a pretty interesting second half ahead of us here between two teams with championship aspirations. The reigning champs, the Wind Chill, and the Salt Lake squad that's looking to end the season on an 11-game winning streak. Their only loss was opening weekend, a really tight game at Atlanta that the Hustle prevailed in 23-21.
Big collision downfield. And a foul called or a pick?
They called a foul, and I'm not sure who they called it on, but now Selfridge walking it forward, and we're going to get an integrity. So despite the contact, players involved say no foul.
Well, I think they're going to say it was a pick. So I think instead of Salt Lake gaining 10 yards, they're going to lose the 10 yards. And that is the correct call.
Salt Lake shred with Jordan Kerr shooting it deep into a crowd. Perfect angle on the throw, though, for Jace Dunabile.
It's so impressive, Evan, these Salt Lake shred Hawks. Every single one of them has been out to space. And I have to give credit to the throwers, Nate DeMorgan, Dunabile, Kerr, Jorgensen's, both of them, McKay and Chad. Every single one of these is going to space. There is no chance for anybody else but for the receiver to make the catch. And I have to give credit finally to Bryce Merrill, because I think that's got to be coaching. He talks so much about route running and so much about throw placement. We heard from Ben Feldman before the game. Salt Lake is good at the long throws. They are good at the blasts, where you just put it as much as you can on it and out to space.
So hucking out to space isn't exactly an original idea. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It's what a lot of teams try to do.
But they're perfect on it. They're executing so well.
8 for 10 on Huck so far tonight, to your point.
I mean, you saw it in the second half against Colorado, a great defensive team.
Sidel Fernandez hits Raider. Raider up the line, has Shope, he's wide open. Salt Lake doesn't have an answer for Thomas Shope right now. And it's these young Carleton kids, DeMorgan and Shope, both lighting it up. They're each just 19 years of age. Shope is a couple months older than Nate. 1 goal game again. Let's look back earlier tonight and see what Shope has done.
The biggest adjustment that possibly the Wind Chill have made put Thomas Shope on the O-line, let him run around, let him get open, let him be young. That's what we always used to say. Be young, go deep, make a play, and he's done that over and over again.
Nice find by Raider there as well. Shope was open by miles. Might have had an offsides call, though, on Minnesota, which is going to give Salt Lake possession at midfield.
Kerr isolated. He clears out the space.
It's DeMorgan, guarded by Hansen, his college coach. Selfridge flips it to McKay Jorgensen. And now Kerr zips it into the end zone for the Salt Lake response. And a travel was called. Hang on a second. The trailing official called a travel. Not the first time tonight that Jordan has been called for moving the pivot foot. I don't know about that. Back to live. Crapful went underneath Kerr. Came up empty. Selfridge on the doorstep. DeMorgan clears the space. Salt Lake resets. 1 goal game, 3 minutes to play in the third. Friday Night Frisbee in Salt Lake City, and it's another score for Nate DeMorgan. This is becoming the DeMorgan versus Shope game after they combined on the final goal to win the college championship just a few weeks ago, seemingly. It's not that dissimilar from watching John Randolph join the Empire and Jock Nissen join the Breeze, and you getting all those battles in the East Division of the Brown guys.
It's a great thing to win a college championship together and then go face each other and have the trash talk and the friendliness that's going to come with it. But yeah, these two young studs getting it done.
Salt Lake leads 16-14.
And Salt Lake feigning the double team. We've seen them do this in the past. Maybe just a way to get Minnesota to go into a different structure.
Raider lands in bounds. We've only had 1 break in this quarter, and it's Klain going deep here, and Raider overshoots him. Salt Lake broke Minnesota 44 seconds into the period, and the teams have been trading holds back and forth ever since. Salt Lake looking for their second break of the half. Browning rips it, and it's caught by Sam Pugh. Luke Jorgensen. Oh. Shook Crapful on the fake. I beg your pardon, that was Larson that went down. Weinberg to Luke Jorgensen. Huff directing traffic. Huff and Weinberg working together. Oscar Brown gets a touch right back to Huff and out of the middle of the field. And Salt Lake converts. Kyle Weinberg in the end zone for the shred.
That's a long time for the Winchell O to play defense. And that's a common strategy by Bryce Merrill. We're not going to call the timeout. We're going to let our D-line cook. They're going to keep possession. Eventually, they find the open hands in the middle of the field, and it's easy. Not sure if Raider poached off or just ran out of gas. But you don't really want to leave somebody wide open in the middle of the field, right at the doorstep.
Brian, it's a good problem to have, but Bryce Merrill has all these young studs on his D-line. By the way, happy early birthday, Kyle Weinberg. He turns 29 tomorrow. 29 is not old, but on the shred roster, he's virtually ancient. Because you got the Pugh brothers, who are both super young, and Nate DeMorgan coming up. Remember the Hoffman brothers both out with injuries. Joe Merrill working his way back from a torn ACL. This deep shot hanging in the air, and James Pollard, can he be the big man in the crowd? It finds the ground, and everybody stops.
Was that the Clerk and Pollard running into each other in the air? This one hung forever.
Yeah, the Clerk and Pollard hip to hip. Another break chance for the shred. Selfridge sees a man going. He's got Moonga into the end zone. Selfridge with a perfect put, and Salt Lake back on track.
You can't give this shred team open looks to the deep space. They're killing any opponent. Colorado, now the wind chill. It's coming from Selfridge, it's coming from Dunabile. The Jorgensen's, it doesn't matter. All this disc has to do is stay in bounds. And Muunga has himself a little gift to celebrate with the crowd.
Shred now 10 for 12 on their hucks tonight. They're also 12 for 12 in the red zone. Salt Lake will receive to start the fourth. Minnesota looking to stabilize and get one goal back here. Grant, Scuber, through the contact. Vinoka makes the grab, and Chad Jorgensen is calling the foul on himself. I don't think he needed to do that because the official was ready to call it too. Apparently, Bevon's not in the end zone.
Looks like he maybe got poked in the eye, if I was reading lips correctly.
Interesting here, 10 seconds remaining. The disc centered. Winchell have time for a reset, but not time for perhaps multiple resets. It's Larson, back to Bevon, and now he's in with 4 seconds to go.
What a grab. Get poked in the eye, hold on to the disc, get the foul.
He's a gamer.
Working through the double team, throw the give and go. He can do it all. Even though this Minnesota wind chill offense has gotten broken a couple times, they have still looked way more confident since the end of the first quarter.
No doubt. 5th goal tonight for Vinoka. 4th assist for Larson. They both lead their teams in those categories. Pollard launching the pull. Important that he keeps it in bounds, and he does.
There's a lot of wind right now. This disc should surely get to the end zone.
DeMorgan, big lefty bomb. Into the end zone it goes. At the buzzer, it's Pollard ripping it down for the wind chill D. That's the end of quarter number 3. On a wild night here in Salt Lake City. A long rain delay with lightning and thunder. And we have seen plenty of electricity on the field too. 12 minutes left here on Friday Night Frisbee.
I need dogs. Understood. Yes, sir. This is the first chance we've had this kind of pressure in a long time. We wanted these rests. We wanted this challenge. Again, it is hard. But we are here to do hard things. That is why we play these games. That's why we play at this level. We are dogs and we are winners, and we are good at doing hard things. So when we step out of this locker room, it is looking forward, and then it's looking physical, and then it's looking fast. Understood? Let's do it. Let's get to it.
The Ultimate Frisbee Association is presented by Pabst Light, America's quality light beer. The UFA is also proud partners with True Leave, dedicated to enhancing lives through cannabis. Two Town Cider House, high quality ingredients, no shortcuts, bringing hard cider back to the people. And Victory Insoles, engineered for peak performance, energy, and recovery.
That pole almost went out of the stadium, Evan. There's a lot of wind all of a sudden on the field. The Shred are going to have to work it into a pure upwind right now, and these are the conditions that favor the wind chill.
All right, 3-goal game, Brian, as we start the fourth. And Minnesota's D-line get rolling again like they did in the second. They outscored Salt Lake 7-3 in the second quarter. If they could outscore them 7-3 in the fourth, they would win this game 22-21 in regulation. Far easier said than done, especially with Salt Lake beginning this quarter on offense and Nate DeMorgan cooking for Salt Lake on whatever line he's taking the field with tonight. We got contact downfield against the Shred. DeMorgan through 3 quarters, Brian. 3 assists, 2 goals, over 300 total yards. He leads all participants in total yards tonight. Narrowly ahead of Minnesota's Josh Klain, who's got a couple big hucks for the Chill.
Normally going in this direction, you would force righty flick. You would just live with that. But because of the lefties with DeMorgan and Kerr, you have to force backhand and prevent those hucks from going up.
Bobbled and dropped by Rusnagel. This opens the door a little bit for Minnesota.
If the conditions stay this way, I think this favors the wind chill, even down 3 points. They know how to play in this. They have mastered the art of playing in the wind.
They're 4 for 7 on break chances tonight. DeClercq shoots it, connects with Hansen, he's not in. Hansen bumped by DeMorgan, and the foul will center the disc. How about this matchup? Coach versus freshman.
Well, the freshman got the better of the coach early on. Let's see what the coach can do.
We got to travel. This is coming back.
Oh, the coach is going to hear about that one in the Discord.
Hansen looking again. A lot of contact. Is it offensive or defensive? They're calling it on Hansen, and DeMorgan's enjoying himself now.
I love this double team from the Shred. They start with a double, and then after the first look, it expands out. You can see how close they are. They're playing in between the spaces.
Reset, bobbled and dropped by Vandy Mortel. Second drop of the night for Tristan. Precious time slipping away, although this is going to come back to the Chill. Errant throw up the line with the wind picking up. Perhaps another storm on its way to Zions Bank Stadium. Deep shot, going to be way too far. All of a sudden, this is starting to feel like championship weekend again.
This is the conditions the Chill love. They play in this all the time. This is their home stadium conditions.
Timeout, Salt Lake. Clock stops with 8:14 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Gives us a chance to catch our breath for the moment and tell you about the can't miss games coming up. Boston, New York, game of the week tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern time, and at the very same time on Watch UFA TV. You got the Growlers and the Spiders. Oakland needs to win to host the Summit in the first round of the West playoffs next week. And then on Sunday, assuming Chicago doesn't lose at home to Detroit tomorrow, Brian, The Union will be going for an undefeated regular season at Stevens Field on Sunday evening. UFA playoffs will start next Saturday. New York will be at DC. San Diego will be at Austin. Madison will be at Minnesota. And in the West, it'll be Colorado and Oakland. If the Spiders win tomorrow, they'll be at home, battling for the right to come to Salt Lake in the West Championship. Difficult throw and catch, and DeMorgan hangs on, and a whistle as the throw goes up, so this is coming back. Contact against the wind chill. And we've seen DeMorgan the thrower, we've seen him the receiver, we've seen him the defender, we've seen him the instigator, the antagonizer. He's really done a little bit of everything tonight and done it all pretty well. Tight window throw to Selfridge. Bullet right to Miller, and McKay Jorgensen catches it in stride and finds his man Chad Jorgensen in the end zone. That's well done by Salt Lake offensively.
They survive a couple of turnovers.
4 minutes and 38 seconds, the length of the first point here in the fourth.
And that's the bigger factor here. The Chill had a great opportunity to get back in this game, but that's a great moment, taking the timeout. Smooth possession after the couple turnovers. Hansen getting the foul call, and then a drop. It got windy all of a sudden. Winchell couldn't take advantage.
Minnesota begins this possession from their back line of the goal line. The pull rolled out the back. Salt Lake has another gift and an opportunity to extend the lead, and it's quickly picked up by Nathan Huff, who finds Sam Pugh in the end zone. Another mistake for Will Brandt. And with 6:55 to go, that feels a little bit like the knockout punch.
You're going to have drops in the wind. We saw it from Rusnagel on the previous possession. It's going to happen. But you have to find a way to get back on defense, and there's no reason to trap there. It's a short field. Do a little bit more on the mark. It's such a tough one.
This was a one-goal game, 15-14. When Raider hit Shope up the line to make it 15-14 with 4:17 to go in the third. Since then, 5-1 Shred. Pollard's going deep. That throw's not going to float long enough.
It's hard going downwind, and it's hard when you have the time pressure. You have to send it. You have to play the field position, and now you got to play great defense to get it back.
Double team coming. They set it on Forsberg, but he quickly resets, gets it out of trouble. Here's Moonga, ripping it into the wind, not going to the intended target. It's through Forsberg's hands. He was looking for Browning, but the throw didn't get nearly as far as he wanted into the teeth of the strong wind. Now Krennic with a wind at his back. For DeClerc. Past the midway point in this fourth quarter, Minnesota still has not scored in this fourth quarter.
Whoa, what a grab.
Krennic keeps it alive. Lenoka taking his time. Throws it away. Easily intercepted by Forsberg and then dropped by Mahonga. The conditions wreaking havoc. And frankly, if Minnesota can score and get the D-line on the field and the wind is crazy, there could be a bunch of turnovers left in the next 5 minutes. Like, there's an avenue for a comeback in these conditions, but you got to punch it in. You got to get the D-line out there, especially with Minnesota's pulling strength. And there you go. 4-goal game with 5 minutes to play. 6th of the night for Vinoka. 6 of their 16.
When the win happens like this, anything is possible, and the turnovers are coming aplenty. Like I said, this is the wind chill strength. What a catch. Keep possession alive, Krennic, and then Vinoka floated that one. They got it right back. Finally, after working through it, taking their time.
After all that, Vandy Mortel to Vinoka with a huge sigh of relief.
It really depends here. If Salt Lake wants to win this game, they can play field position as well. And now they get the chance to test out their new double team.
Oh, no Braden Eberhardt tonight. Bryce Merrill said he's about 30 for 30 in these situations this year. So Chad Jorgensen, he pivots into the double team. Minnesota wanted a travel call, and I think there's a case to be made. But Jorgensen again goes down, and they're going to call the foul. Ben Feldman is screaming at the sideline referee. That floating reset is dangerous. Over Hansen, deflected down to the ground by Krapfel. Minnesota does create the turnover.
And here's Josh Klain with the upwind.
Surprised he didn't bomb it. He had a couple cutters beyond the last defenders for the shred. Especially with time of the essence. If you get this score, you're going downwind again. Hanscom was bumped on the mark, but north of a minute remaining, clock continues to tick.
They have just enough time if they score all the breaks left in this game.
Hanscom. Oh, incredible acrobatic maneuver by Jorgensen. I'm not sure how Chad Jorgensen got around Colin Berry there to make that play. DeMorgan floats it into the wind, hanging up there and spiked to the ground. Another block for Krapfel. I beg your pardon, that was Hanscom. Hanscom, the 6'5" defender out of Middlebury. This point began with 5 minutes to go. Klain picked up the disc with about 4:15 left.
What a rope.
Now we're down to 3 minutes. Minnesota's got to hurry. Hansen throws a prayer and a half. And it's popped up, it's still floating, and it's knocked down right by the front pylon. What a crazy sequence. What a night this has been. Wrapping up our regular season of Friday Night Frisbee in the UFA. Your Salt Lake, just don't turn it over right by your end zone. Got a 4-goal cushion. Clock continues to tick. Looking for DeMorgan, he was wide open, but the wind took it away. And then DeMorgan bumps the disc down. And they're gonna blow the whistle to stop the clock, an official timeout. Reset the location of the disc. 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go. The clock in the stadium continued to tick though. And we're gonna get a Minnesota timeout. And I think it'd be right to add 10, 15 seconds back to the clock here. And I think the officials should do that. Take a deep breath, everybody. Listen to the timeout.
Fuck, we'll go. Sam in.
Sam
in. We got to shoot, boys. Yep. We got to come up with a home play. 1 2 throws.
We can't momentum. We saw far away that D-line set was like, be closer. Build momentum, take the shot.
What's the shot we're trying to draw? What'd you like?
I would love momentum to the middle of the field. Yeah. So from the sideline, getting it to the middle to be able to drive. So
Delta?
maybe from the back, or like
We have the minutes right here.
Just let me call.
Hey, let's get Beat.
Yeah.
Beat on in the 3 spread. Coming under that, and then
They're gonna
let's have
run that aggressively, just so you know.
and then, hey, let's have a mini delta with us 3. Okay. You're coming under, then delta. Ready? Let's go.
Let's go on 3. 1, 2, 3,
Sure.
A lot of voices active in that huddle, Brian.
And Josh Klein just smiling.
Yeah. A lot of guys who can boost it. And in Pollard and Rader, guys that can make plays in the air. Klein just has to launch, look in Rader's direction, and he'll bring it in. Reset to a bobbling Berglund. That should just about do it. The Salt Lake Shred less than 2 minutes away from 11 consecutive wins heading into the 2025 postseason. Beautiful shot to finish it off. Oscar Brown to Luke Jorgensen.
They were the better team in the first quarter, maybe not the second quarter, but the second half of every game this season has belonged to the Shred, with the exception of the opening one. A lot of turnovers at this point. The wind is picked up, chances for the wind chill. Barry just biffed it. This one gets tipped, stays in the air for a while. We had such a nice, calm Salt Lake O-line game for a little bit.
We did. That was a while ago, though. Salt Lake, second in the league in turnovers per game, averaging just over 14 entering tonight. They are at 17 right now, and the wind is probably responsible for more than half of them. Atlanta, number 1 in the league, with fewer than 12 turnovers per game. The Hustle will be the 1 seed in the South. If you missed it earlier tonight, Carolina victorious over Austin. The Soul missing a chance on their home field to clinch the top seed and home field advantage in the South Finals. Now they got to deal with the Growlers next week. Gonna be a foul called on Branson there. He thought he had a lot of disc, and I thought he did too, but he perhaps got some of Andy Mortel's arm. Clock still ticking towards a minute to play. Crossfield Scuba is incomplete. Certainly a lot to digest from this game tonight.
It's the tale of 2 different games.
Maybe 3 different games.
There's a lot of good things that happen in the second quarter for the wind chill.
The third quarter too, after they were broken the first point, they had 5 or 6 holds in a row. Timeout taken by Bryce Merrill, and the Salt Lake Shred with 51 seconds left. Got a nice little triangle, Brian.
Hey, we have motion through that double team. Remember early season we talked about not shimmying through. We stepped through and create our throwing lanes. Okay, Kimball, you want ball? Sure. Thank you, Kimball. Ball, Luke on the upline, Germ on the fill. Hey, Kimball, if you don't like your options, it's throwing it back in as far as you can. Kimball, when you step through, time is over.
The triangle that I'm thinking about: Atlanta over Salt Lake, Minnesota over Atlanta, and tonight, Salt Lake over Minnesota. Make it make sense. Yeah, I guess you could say the home team won all 3 games.
You figured it out by yourself, Evan. You didn't need me. It was within you all along.
It's almost Saturday on my East Coast body clock. That's a physical play, and it's going to be A D for Berglund and the assist as well to Hansen. So with 50 seconds to play, Minnesota back within 4. Feels a little too late.
I know
that looked like a foul.
Looked like a strip, looked like a foul, but no just argument. I know that there's not enough time for a comeback, but it feels like if there ever were to be a moment with high winds where every pass is perilous, this could be it. Because I don't think Minnesota is going down right now. I think they're fighting. I don't think they're just content to run out the clock.
Pollard and Vinoka on the double team. Oh, what a find. Chad Jorgensen to Will Selfridge right on the goal line. Big reset back to Chad, and he will slither it off the sideline to DeMorgan. And now the Shred can either score or run off the clock.
They don't have to do either. They could just go drop the disc and play defense.
Well, the final weekend in April, Salt Lake went to Atlanta and lost the game, but showed a lot in that defeat. And they haven't lost since. And they're going to win 11 consecutive games heading into the 2025 playoffs. They are a win over the Summit or the Spiders away from returning to championship weekend. They are 4-0 against the Spiders and the Summit this season.
We've seen crazier things happen though. We've seen favorites go down. That's what makes the playoffs so special. Even though the seeding was decided before this game, you can tell that the teams are trying to squeeze every ounce of juice left in it. It was great in those moments for the win because Bryce Merrill wants to get that experience with the double teams. He wants to get new players involved. But this is a great celebration of Salt Lake's regular season, and they look like the real deal.
They sure do.
Facing adversity at halftime, responding well. A coach that they feel like they're ready to run through a wall for.
This Salt Lake team is young and hungry. They're talented, they're fast, they're deep. And they are bought in and determined to make noise in the postseason. What are the whistles for? Clock issue, I believe. Minnesota's going to drop to 8-3. They host Detroit on Sunday. I don't know if I'd... The Mechanix at Chicago, at Minnesota the next 2 days. Can they keep either game within 15? Vinoka throws one more score. And Pollard brings it in with 3 seconds left. Over under a combined differential of 30 in the Chicago-Detroit and Minnesota-Detroit games, Brian.
Over, Evan.
Meanwhile, we got Boston, New York, game of the week. San Diego, Oakland. And Chicago, Madison. Should be a really interesting game. Radicals determined to defend their home turf at Breeze Stevens Field, where we will be just over a month from now. championship weekend in the UFA. 5 weeks from tonight, semifinal Friday. Look at the hustle here. Dylan DeClerc racing down. 3 seconds left in a 4-goal game, and that'll do it. 11 straight wins for the Salt Lake Shred. They are the heavy favorites in the West. They win tonight 22-18 over the Minnesota Wind Chill. And how about a shutout for these fans? Through the elements, through the delay, they stay, they make a difference. They bring the passion and the energy from start to finish.
Bryce Merrill has done such a great job of building a winning culture. They've had moments of success in the early years, making it to a final. They were nervous. This looks like a team that is composed and ready for a deep playoff run.
Happy Saturday to those tuning in on the East Coast. We're not done yet. We'll chat with our Paps Light player of the game when we return. Salt Lake over Minnesota 22-18. Quick break, we'll be right back.
I need dogs. Understood.
Yes, sir.
This is the first chance we've had of this kind of pressure in a long time. We wanted these rests. We wanted this challenge. Okay, it is hard. But we are here to do hard things. That is why we play these games. That's why we play at this level. We are dogs and we are winners, and we are good at doing hard things. So when we step out of this locker room, it is looking forward, and it is looking physical, and it is looking fast. Understood? Let's do it. Let's get to it.
11 consecutive wins for the Salt Lake Shred. They go 6-0 this season here at Zions Bank Stadium. And they win tonight over Minnesota 22-18. Our Paps Light player of the game, McKay Jorgensen, 59 completions, 2 assists, 7 hockey assists, and a post-game chat with our Grace Bulow. Grace.
Thanks, Evan. So that game was insane. Did Minnesota have you scared at any point?
I mean, they did make a big comeback. We started off really hot, and when they were making their comeback, it always worries you a little bit, but I knew we'd prepared well, and our O-line, if we just calm down, we can work it up. So, I mean, there's always a little scare, but we also felt confident that if we just get back to what we do well, then no one can stop us.
Everyone wants to know, what's it like playing with your brothers?
It's so awesome. We have played all growing up, and so we know how each other plays. We know what cuts we're gonna make, and so it's just fun to have someone out there that you've connected with all growing up, and you can just read the field with them and just go back and forth every now and then. So me and Chad both played a little defense today, which we got to play with Luke a little bit, so it's super fun. It's always great.
All right, eyes on the prize, champ weekend. What's it gonna take to get there? You have one game.
Yep, same as it has taken to get to this point. Every game we have, we've just looked at the next one. And as I was saying before, we've gone one game at a time. We've taken care of Minnesota, and now we have to we'll play Oakland or Colorado. They're both really good. They're both physical. And they're both going to take a lot of focus, and we can't take these next 3 weeks off and just think we're going to win. So just continue to focus and continue to get better, because they're also going to get better. So just continuing to do what we've been doing.
Perfect. Thank you so much, McKay.
Of course.
Back to the booth.
Thanks so much, Grace. McKay Jorgensen, our Pabst Light player of the game. Brian, as we head to the playoffs, what makes this Salt Lake team so scary?
Composed, disciplined, selfless. That last part. You have every player at every position doing their job. It's not Jordan Kerr having an MVP season that's putting them over the top. It's Jordan Kerr plus Nate DeMorgan plus Dunabile, Russ Nagel, and every little piece fitting together for the shred.
Well, Salt Lake played the first Saturday night of the season in Atlanta and lost by 2. They have not lost since. 11 straight wins for the Shred. They're the top seed in the West. They'll be back on the field 3 weeks from tomorrow for the West Division Final. Don't forget the rest of Week 13 as the final regular season games get played on WatchUFA.tv tomorrow and Sunday. Our regular season is over on Friday Night Frisbee. We'll be back with a free Friday Frisbee game 3 weeks from tonight in Atlanta for the South Division Final. The hustle against either the Growlers or the Soul. Full playoff schedule will be released in just a couple of days. For Brian Jones and Grace Bulow and our entire production team, pushed to the limits tonight with all the elements, I'm Evan Lepler. Thanking you for sticking with us. We'll see you in the playoffs on Friday Night Frisbee. Good night, everybody.